A pair of East Division rivals will wrap up week number 4 in the CFL. The new-look Redblacks are looking to avoid an 0-3 start to this season, but this matchup has not gone their way as of late. The Alouettes have won 11 straight over Ottawa. Montreal's last loss in the series, that was back in October of 2022. We'll see what is in store here tonight. As we welcome you here inside the TSN studio, I'm Laura Dyken, joined alongside Dave Naylor as well with the Hamilton Ticats on a bye. We've got Stavros Katsantonis joining us as well. It has been a great week number 4 so far. Who would have thought the Edmonton Elks are the only undefeated team left? The Argos went into Regina and handed the defending champs their first loss of the season. And then we had Touchdown Kelowna kicking off yesterday, and it was the Stamps getting their first win of the season. Now the Redblacks looking to follow suit. When it comes to tonight's matchup, though, Dave, what is your key to watch for?
I'm going to go with Ottawa running back Greg Bell against the front seven of the Montreal Alouettes. And look, we've had lots of conversation and focus on the quarterback situation. And, you know, it hasn't been good for 2 games with Jake Maier. But I think one of the things that's been challenging to him is they've been in second and long an awful lot. Bell made his debut with Ottawa last week. Had 29 yards on 11 carries. They can get him going, get some rhythm, get some efficiency of that offense. They're down at the bottom of the league in time of possession. That would help all of those things.
My key matchup tonight is going to be Ottawa's secondary. They got some ball hawks back there. They've also given up a league-leading explosions on 30-plus yard completions against the Montreal Alouettes passing attack. We got Tyler Sneed. We got Tyson Philpott. If you took an X-ray of their chest, they'd have a little pit bull behind them right there. So I'm excited to see that matchup tonight. It's going to be key. When
it comes to playing against Davis Alexander, you have experience doing that. What makes him so difficult to go up against?
Man, I think when you look at Davis, he's able to escape the pocket. He's sneaky. He has a big cannon of an arm where he can just launch that football. He's going to catch you slipping if you're not staying on top of the defense, keeping everything in front of you. If you don't do that, you're going to be for a long night of football against him.
Yes, this Alouettes offense has been flying as of late, averaging 32 points per game so far this season. As for the Redblacks, they haven't led yet this entire season, and now they're taking their act on the road. This is their first road game of the year after dropping the first 2 against teams that did not make the playoffs a year ago. So final preparations are underway in Montreal. The final game of week number 4 kicks off right after this.
Thank you, Laura, and welcome to Montreal, where the heat has risen to near 30 degrees centigrade, perhaps symbolizing the rising pressure that's on the visiting Redblacks here tonight as they search for their first win of head coach Ryan Dinwiddie's time in the nation's capital. Marshall Ferguson alongside Paul Lapalisse, Kenzie Lalonde with us at field level. Kenzie's going to be a hot one tonight, and it is, I'm looking at my notes here, Lap, it looks like something called a loss for Davis Alexander. Is that wrong?
Yeah, how about this? Never experienced this before in his career. 13-1 last week, had his first loss. Trying to get back in the win column. Davis Alexander has been outstanding for this organization in Montreal. Hey, there's a term called burn the boats. And being all in, the Redblacks burned the boats last week. Moving on from Drew Brown, traded away. Jake Maier is the leader of this team.
Yeah, and Ryan Dinwiddie, the head coach of the Ottawa Redblacks, saying they have a lot more issues than just quarterback right now. It's part of the reason why they have not found the win column as it stands coming into week number 4, playing 2 games with a bye mixed in there as well. And Jason Moss, head coach of the Montreal Alouettes, fired up as ever, especially after an overtime defeat against the Edmonton Elks last week on the road. Montreal extremely happy to be back here at home at Percival Molson Stadium. Obviously, heavy hearts in and around Montreal with the events in the news this week, but the Alouettes trying to bring some joy to the area, and a great crowd here on a Sunday night for CFL action. To round out week 4, here we go with Brett Lowther putting foot to ball and dropping it down to Mario Alford as he crosses the 30-yard line and then knifes past the 40. And we get an opportunity to see Davis Alexander after the 21-yard return.
There's a couple of things to love about Davis Alexander last couple of weeks. 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but the guy's got 7 30-plus plays. What are those explosive pass plays? A lot of them to Tyson Philpott. This guy can use his legs to escape things, and he's going to look for some of those downfield shots. Been real fun to watch what he's done so far this year, Marshall.
Davis Alexander, I think a lot of people going, well, he had a loss, but he must have played poorly. Well, not so fast. 29 of 44 last week, no interceptions. 350-plus yards as Stevie Scott back in the lineup gets the carry inside as Stevie Scott factoring back into this Montreal rushing attack after Travis Tice played main character last week.
Yeah, and that's kind of great. They got the flexibility to have Stevie Scott and Travis Tice, two really good running backs. A little bit different how they do it. Stevie Scott back from an injury, so Tice will get some rotational plays within this system to keep both guys healthy.
And right away, we see Travis Tice lining up at the tight end at the bottom of your screen as Stevie Scott in the backfield. So the 2 running back set early and often here for DA as Alexander rips it out to Tice in the flats. And he fights his way across the 55-yard line. Well earned that time for the first Alouettes first down as we get a look at their starting attack.
Tiger Shanks has done really good things on film. Started from UVale. UNLV drafted last year. That right tackle looks solidified for a long time. And Tyson Philpott, first in the CFL yards, receptions. The guy's averaging 130 yards per game. Hey, Marshall, somebody double team that guy. Let's go. Can we get double coverage on that guy, please?
We were trying to figure out if they box and won him or what are they doing here. All sorts of different things to try and slow down Philpott. Is this one complete underneath? And it is Philpott on the receiving end quickly from Davis Alexander as they get off to a quick start, something they were aiming for here in week 4 to set the tone against the Redblacks without a win.
Yeah, this is what's real good about Davis Alexander. This is a little bit of a zone read play. You guys roll it, go ahead, and you're going to have a player right out in the flat underneath, so the quarterback can use his legs, take that quick underneath throw. He doesn't have to wait for the timing or everything. You know, you got to play contain. Hard what you do when the Alouettes have so many good athletes in the backfield.
This time they'll bump Stevie Scott out alongside Travis Tice in a great defensive play as Alexander hits the turf. All right, the Ottawa defense is climbing the ladder at that time, and knocking it down was Bennett Williams.
And Bryce Carter, one quarterback sack this year. He's got to pressure, get some pressure on Davis Alexander. Love the motor on the 4th-year player. Speaking of pressure, CJ Rivas, 10 D10 tackles, 2 knockdowns. Get this guy blitzing the quarterback. Get him out there. And everyone in Redblacks Nation excited. Amari Henderson back. First start of the year. Should provide some stability. 2nd-year player for the Redblacks after a couple years in Saskatchewan.
After the incomplete pass, 5-man pressure, and Alexander rifles this one underneath, incomplete. And you just mentioned C.J. Rivas as he was the closest defender on the play, and it should force out the punting unit. And it will. Or is it? Yeah, it's actually the field goal unit. Yeah, Jose Maltos Diaz came in. I saw Joseph Zima coming off the sideline, but a long attempt lined up right off the bat here for Maltos Diaz.
We don't want to say it, but there's the stats right there, 11 for 11.
This one from 49 yards away. Zima to holds. Louis-Philippe Bourassa from the University of Montreal, the snap. And doink! Off the uprights. Way to go, Lapo.
Goodness.
Maltos Diaz.
11 of 12 now.
A sensational start to the season, but there is no tonic for the curse that Lapo bringeth. Doink, and we remain tied. Jake Mayer named the starting quarterback for the Ottawa Redblacks without even having a chance in a game in the preseason to see Drew Brown, and we'll talk about the move that happened with Brown earlier, but last week a bit of an up and down adventure against the Double Blue as Mayer with a couple of interceptions, a touchdown pass as well, and back and forth he went with Chad Kelly, but at the end it was a 6-5 turnover advantage in favor of Toronto because of pair picks.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 484 yards last week. You can see there. You know, the thing that's got to really happen for this team is find ways to create some explosive plays, but also get a run game going so it's not all on Jake Mayer.
Up against it, against this Noel Thorpe coached defense for the Montreal Alouettes, as we see the Redblacks attack that will try to get on the scoreboard early and often here today in Montreal.
With the cutting of Martez Ivy this week, Zach Pelios gets his first start this year back at the tackle position he played last year. And Benjamin Victor, replaces the hurt Eugene Lewis. Last year with the Elks, 32 catches, 330 yards, 1 TD. He's got some big shoes to fill, but he'll plug in for the injured Eugene Lewis.
Ed Neverhard lines up tight to the line of scrimmage. As Mayer with play action looks to Justin Hardy, but pressure's on, giving chase and just having to dump it away as Josh Archibald was all over him. The original pressure was coming in from Isaac Adiemi Berglund, the standout Canadian defensive end. And a flag comes out late as well as we get a look at it.
The biggest thing you have to have an understanding is all these zone read plays that all these quarterbacks are doing is they're reading a defensive end. Some of the defensive ends in the league are just so athletic. Isaac Ademi Berglund, he just recovered. As Jake says, I'm going to pull this football because the end crashed. Berglund, the throw is not available. Berglund recovers and is able to force Jake Mayer to throw the ball away. So good coverage in the back end.
Contre Ottawa numéro 13, ça va être troisième essai. Intentional grounding, Ottawa number 13. It's going to be third down.
So that'll back them up as well. Just a little bit here, and it leaves Ottawa with a quick 2-and-out to get things going offensively in the Drew Brownless era, if you will, on the roster, on the sidelines. High spiraling boot sent away by Noah Getman and drops down to Alford inside his own 10-yard line. That was a 62-yard punt from Noah Getman. Sensational in the rain in week 1. As Davis Alexander continuing to chase greatness, and early on in this ball game, consecutive pass attempts without an interception, keeping a clean sheet, and he actually passes Ricky Ray from all the way back in 2012-13.
Huge number, and he's got a long way to go to what Darren Durant did back in 2014. But again, one of the things you like about Davis Alexander is the decision making. The first thing of a quarterback has to do, first of all, he's got to be a great decision maker. Davis has proven that week in and week out by protecting the football. Knowing I got a good defense, I got a bunch of playmakers, I think Anthony Calvillo and Jason Moss and this offensive staff do a really good job also, Marshall, protecting this quarterback. A lot of screen passes. They get the ball out of their hands quickly, so he doesn't take too many shots downfield, but they are controlled when they take them, and they can hit Tyson Philpott for some of those big ones.
Aaron Casey, the former Toronto Argonaut, up onto his feet after covering the special teams kick down the field. But the crazy thing as well about having Davis Alexander with so many completions in a row without an interception, he's not a guy that's throwing it 6-7 yards down the field. He likes getting vertical, and Calvillo and Ray as well, I should say, with Jason Moss, they love letting him open it up and take those shots, right? So to take vertical opportunities without throwing an interception gives even more credit to his decision making.
You talk about short passes, then a deep shot shows up.
And Alexander begins this drive with a little handoff and a hop, skip and a jump from Stevie Scott. The flag comes out at the end of that one as well.
See this call.
Bloc légal, les mains ont été portées au visage. Ottawa numéro 1, c'est une pénalité diverse. Ça donne un premier essai à Montréal. Look at block, hands in the face. Ottawa number 1. It's a 10-yard penalty, makes it a first down for Montreal.
Niles Morgan, the linebacker, gets the hand all the way up, and Jacob Mason right in front actually pushes him back into Stevie Scott, which is what brought down the ball carrier.
Can't put your hands on the face mask, and it's a dangerous thing to do. Snap that neck back. Got to protect the players in the game.
They mix and match Mason, Stevie Scott, and Tice early on, and Davis Alexander drops the snap here, gets back on top of it, so harmless and fortunate it's on first down, not second, to kill the drive.
I think this is a little mixture of Stevie Scott being new to the game. As Stevie Scott goes across, does he bump into Davis Alexander to knock this ball down? Good recovery by Davis to protect this ball being a huge turnover. Nope, doesn't touch him at all. He's just, you got to look the ball in your hands. hard thing to do for some of these quarterbacks. The game is so much, you catch the ball without the laces and throw it immediately. Sometimes it's going to put yourself in bad position.
And we're just talking about Calvillo. How good was he at catch and release, right? And the quick game as they throw this one backwards, and Tyler Snead could throw it, and he chooses to hang on as he bounces off a tackler, reverses field, and now gets a wall of blockers, and out in front, Tyler Snead cuts it back. And on 2nd and long after the loss on 1st down, it's 21 yards for Tyler Snead.
Creativity is awarded in the Canadian Football League, Marshall. This is a double pass. How you knew this was a double pass is because the bubble is Snead. It's a lateral to Snead. You can see him looking downfield. Do I have anybody? Nope. Now I'm going to take off, start running. And when you change direction on everybody, it's difficult. Snead is a diminutive guy, but he's got great feet, great change of direction, but great instincts of not taking the deep ball that wasn't there.
Snead makes another grab on this play, 1st and 10, and picks up about half of it.
I used to always talk to the players about, hey, if we call a special play or a trick play or whatever you want to call it, just because we call it doesn't mean you throw it. And all we need on this play is a 5-yard gain. It's no different than throwing a hitch for a pass. So great by Snead to go, hey, it's not there. I'm just going to get what yards I can.
Is that why when you had Andrew Harris in Winnipeg, sometimes he would just throw it out of bounds incomplete because he didn't have a running lane? He didn't have a, right?
That's football IQ. Yeah,
right. You
don't want to lose yardage.
As Alexander hands it off inside, knifing down the hatch on 2nd and short. Solid run. Stevie Scott always leaning forward downhill to get a fresh set of downs.
Really good work here by Nick Callender, Pierre-Olivier Lestage. Just denting the defense. Stevie Scott starts pushing front side. He sees that crease develop, hits it back inside, gets his shoulders north-south. You know, at 6'1", 230, these Big Ten backs, bigger physical guys, they're gonna hit you, and it's gonna turn into a 7-yard gain.
Well, they must have loved what they saw in practice, because right back to the heavy workload they go for Stevie Scott in this first quarter at home for Montreal after their loss to Edmonton. As Alexander, flat-footed, rips this one outside. One-on-one, Tyson Philpott caught it at about 6 yards and gets the rest all by himself.
One of the great examples, again, what the Alouettes like out of Davis Alexander. You're going to get both receivers to the wide side of the field running deep, and then Tyson Philpott's going to come underneath. You see the 2 deep players, everybody's carrying the deep players, nobody's underneath Tyson. He recognizes immediately, gets it out to Philpott, and you know Philpott with the ball in his hands to the wide side of the field is going to get extra yardage. Good checked out, good decision on a shot play, taking the underneath throw.
Taking a close look at it here, and it looks as though they will send out the chains to measure. By the way, that Tyler Snead little bubble, he actually threw a completed pass to Austin Mack on that back in 2023. So it's something they've run with Snead occasionally, and they'll decide not to measure, just go with the 1st down.
Good pull, Marshall, right there.
But also,
23. All right.
I bring it up because it looked like a little bit of maybe a Team Canada flag football play where you
I don't know about that.
You bubble and 2 quarterbacks. And
yep.
Never say never. They set up with a fresh set of downs after Philpott gets the yardage required just by a foot. And this time it's Marco Dubois as a flag flies, and Dubois goes right down that left hash. We'll see what the flag is. Looks like it's coming back with a holding call. As Dubois had 2 targets in Edmonton last week, 0 catches. He had one there, but it'll get wiped away by the penalty.
Retenu, Montréal, numéro 59. Penalty diverse, on va répéter le premier essai. Holding, Montreal 59, it's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay the 1st down.
Cyril Hogan-Sedan, right on the inside of your screen at the center. Looks like as he's going to make the block, you can't get your hand that high up. You can see it right there. If you're going to have your hand all the way above and reaching like that, that's always going to be called for a hold. You got to keep your hands inside and lower.
Battling to try and maintain Michael Wakefield on that snap. Draws the penalty, has had a bit of a double move, and now Alexander over the top. It's Alexander Hall to the end zone! Touchdown Alouettes! Deep ball, Davis strikes from 54 yards away.
Great execution here. This is what we talked about. Montreal, short play, then a shot play. But the legs of Davis Alexander is what creates this opportunity. Some of these deep downfield shots takes extra time to beat the zone. He climbs the pocket, knows where the touchdown is. Alexander Hollins, great time and space by Hollins for the huge touchdown.
8 plays, just over 4 minutes, and Davis Alexander, big time throws down the field, 20 yards or more. Completing at 37% last year, third to only Trevor Harris and Nathan Rourke. He was ahead of the likes of Zach Collaros, Vernon Adams Jr., Bo Levi Mitchell adds to the tally here in 2026. Alouettes early lead.
Alexander Hollins with the huge explosive touchdown after the penalty, but watch what happens here. You're going to get what we call middle plays, or what I like to call a middle play, where you're going to go under and then let this player clear everything out, and then I'm going to show up later. You can see it right here. He goes underneath and then vertically up the field. So the underneath coverage thinks it's a short route, then he jumps it deep for the huge explosive play, but the key was Davis Alexander had the time because he climbed the pocket for the great play call designed by Jason Moss and offensive coordinator Anthony Calvillo.
Khalil Pimpleton with the return as he gets out beyond the 50 and eventually is bumped out of bounds by Altos Diaz. Tyson Philpott, we spoke plenty about his excellent start to the season, tremendous pace. The hottest start since 2024 when Alexander Hollins had 402 yards the first 3 games for BC. He's an Alouette now, and they've got the lead over Pimpleton and the Redblacks. There is Eugene Lewis standing on the sideline in street clothes, unfortunately. It's like nobody loves to see, dealing with a shoulder injury right now. He of 28 touchdowns over 5 seasons with his time with the Montreal Alouettes. Of course, now an Ottawa Redblack, but the Redblacks offense up against it as they gain some yardage after the penalty and the nice return from Khalil Pimpleton. So without Gino, they'll go to the ground game. And quickly downhill, it is Greg Bell as we take a look at the always complicated Montreal defense.
Isaac Ademi Berglund really has got to get going in the sack department, trying to get his first sack of the season, but high motor, high energy. Love to see this guy. 2024 most outstanding defensive player, Tyrese Beverett, back after missing last week. Hey, and a couple of new guys. Injuries to both Cavianento, Lorenzo Burns puts Don Callis and Fayon Hicks out at the corners. Watch the Redblacks take some shots at these guys.
And Bell spins back into traffic. Didn't have it on first effort, but bounces off a couple of players to pick up the first down for Ottawa.
And this is what's got to happen for the Redblacks. You know, you watched that film last week. It's too much for Jake Mayer to be just throwing the ball all the time. They did not get a lot of yards rushing last week. 29 yards for 2.6 yards per gain. They need to get some of this stuff going to take it off Jake Mayer. He's making plays every play in the pass game, because otherwise the defense just going to tee it off, play coverage all game, and force you in a difficult situation.
And I believe that is Greg Bell that is still down on the turf right now. So after spinning backwards and all of his momentum carrying him into the pile, right in the heart of that Montreal defense, the training staff out to take a look at the big free agency acquisition from Hamilton for the Ottawa Redblacks. So Jake Mayer without Gino Lewis and Greg Bell on the turf. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Montreal. Greg Bell still down on the turf as you see Gino Lewis coming out to check in on the injured Ottawa Redblacks running back. And we get a look at it here again as he spun backwards, and at the end of the play it looks like he just kind of caught his neck and head into the weird side angle getting contact.
Yeah, I think Fayon Hicks, the new starting right corner, I think delivered a blow that maybe hit his head. Checking to see his head.
Yeah, Tyrese Beverett on the top, pile at the end of the bed. It's great to see Greg Bell up onto his feet and walking his way with the training staff towards the sideline. So Daniel Adeboboye steps into the football game here on 1st and 10 after Bell did pick up the yardage required. And we haven't said the name Justin Hardy yet. Aiden Eberhardt. Still options in this Ottawa offense, and they've got to get going as Bell goes into the tent. Keelan White fake on the little jet sweep. Pressure on from Yemi Berglund again, and this time they'll bring him down. Mayer couldn't get rid of it as they'll clean up the flag. But Isaac Yemi Berglund has been everywhere in this first quarter.
Little play action pass here. Didn't fall for the defensive end. If you watch, the tight end's trying to control it. But then Demi Berglund from an inside position, he recovers, doesn't fall for the little play action pass on the speed sweep, contains the quarterback. Jake's got nowhere to go but go down and protect the ball and take the sack.
I'm not sure if that was a substitution error because of the Greg Bell injury package coming in, or just a formation alignment assignment problem, but they did not have an end on the play, so that was the flag.
I don't think the end man line of scrimmage reported, because they had an end man line of scrimmage, but he was an ineligible number that didn't report.
Perfect. So 2nd and 19. Jake Mayer with 4 receivers available, and he'll float this one over the top to Adebaboye. Out of the backfield and into a host of tacklers, including Najee Murray and Micah Awe. And when you look at the Montreal linebacking group with a field goal coming, it's like collecting the infinity stones here. You got one of everything.
Yeah, and this is a 2nd and extra right now that Jake Mayer has to check it down to. This is what Ryan Dimwitty talked about all week. We can't be in 2nd and long. Last week, they had a bunch of 2nd and longs. They were 3 of 12 on 2nd and 7+. They cannot. It's very hard for any team to overcome this. They can't get these penalties on 1st down.
Jose Maltos Diaz was perfect coming in and missed. Now it's Brett Lowther's opportunity to stay at 100%, and he does,
because
with Lewis Ward watching on as he's on the practice roster for the Montreal Alouettes. How strange is that?
This is one of the best stories about the Redblacks. Brett Lowther being, you notice I was very quiet on that. I didn't say what he was, but hitting another field goal to start the season. You know, a lot of people raised their eyebrows when they're like, wait a minute, you're cutting Lewis Ward for a guy who's got a worse field goal percentage, but healthy, kicking very well. His kickoffs also he's 5th in the Canadian Football League. When they made the change here, they also, when you make change, certainly, like if you have your punter doing the kickoffs like they did last year, well, when we make a change to the punter, we have to have an answer for who's kicking off.
We get a look at Lewis Ward wearing the enemy's colors from what he used to play against, as Brett Lowther with a long of 51 against Toronto, 24th on the CFL's all-time scoring list. Coming up on Boris Beattie as well, the former Alouette himself. Last year, Lowther started 4 of 8 in Saskatchewan, and now 8 of 8. So on the money in the nation's capital and here on the road to get things going in Montreal, as Davis Alexander goes back to work. His last pass went to Alexander Hollins for a touchdown. This time Tyson Philpott on a quick screen. The Ottawa defense rallies, but good execution and a solid pickup on 1st down.
And again, I go back to this, and I keep talking about this. This Montreal Alouettes offense loves quick throws to athletic players in space. A couple of linemen pulling out on the perimeter. So you get it to Tyson Philpott on a screen pass to get you to 2nd and 2, which is going to be a high run percentage. And then eventually you do a couple of those, then the shot play is going to come. So I love how this team calls plays to protect the quarterback and get the ball in their playmakers' hands.
Tyson Philpott, 3 targets, 3 catches, 33 yards here early on. Stevie Scott inside. Oh, ran into a wall right at the 50-yard line, which is where he had to get to for the 1st down marker. And we already saw the athleticism of Bennett Williams jumping and knocking down a pass earlier. This time the physicality to try and get the stop, but it's Stevie Scott one-on-one at the hole. Listen to this.
Stevie Scott, shoulders turned, downhill, right? I know it's 2nd and 2. I'm going to get the yardage I need. Love those Big Ten running backs with downhill shoulders.
Alexander, quick throw outside. And Tyson Philpott, drop step, tries to get to the outside and does, as they run into the Alouettes bench. And again, Anthony Calvillo, we saw a shot of him a couple plays ago, calling things in, trying to get things going for this Montreal group. There he is, AC, the legendary quarterback. I love this week. He said, when I'm calling plays, it's now like going from a backup quarterback to the starter. Your entire mindset changes. Your week is different. The stress is higher, but he loves game day, still does.
Going tempo here, trying to get this quarterback sneak on a 2nd and 1 here.
This Kept
Davis in.
Yeah, right to the right-hand side. But can't you relate to that, Lapo? Like the idea of just, you know what, when you're there and you're positional coach, yeah, I hope everything goes well, but game day, man, that feels totally different when you're at the controls.
Yeah, and you got to be covered for every scenario. And, you know, as a play caller, you're always thinking about a couple of things. One of the first things is when a player doesn't execute anything, you're like, did I prepare them the right way? I always tried to not put it on the players, like, did I prepare them the right way so they could have success with it? And you got to be ready for multiple different scenarios. And the big thing, get the ball in your most productive player's hands, right? Have an answer for blitz.
As flags fly here, and looks like AC will get a chance to call something fresh. Yeah, I think we might have 2 flags on this one because Ben Major's flag actually came out pretty late. I wonder if it's not.
So a lot of
Offside, Ottawa 75. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
So a lot of times what teams are going to do, and I can tell by how these receivers are motioning, that they don't have a play called. And what do you mean they don't have a play called? They have a dummy cadence right now where they're going to go in a hard count, and then if somebody jumps, they put their hands up and say they jumped. Otherwise, they'll call a play at the line of scrimmage. So good execution on the dummy call right there.
Pick up a free 5, so 1st and 5. Alexander looks to the flats with Tyler Sneed and then decides to rip it just over the head of Alexander Hollins. Incomplete.
Good defensive coverage there, making sure Alexander that nobody there open for Alexander Hollins. Good coverage on the underneath. As they move the launch point.
See Will Fields there, the Ottawa defensive coordinator, and I'm also kind of laughing internally watching Davis Alexander still talking. You mean just because they ripped Superman's cape off when Cody Fajardo ran the end zone last week that he's not afraid to keep talking? Shocking. We all knew Davis wasn't going to change once that regular season mark was altered.
Yep.
Blitz coming here from Niles Morgan, and Davis feels it. Can they bring him to the turf? He just chucks it away, underhand. And they'll say incomplete, receiver in the area. The pass was behind the line of scrimmage. And Michael Wakefield stating his case as a flag does fly.
Niles Morgan, watch the pressure, watch Stevie Scott, but Alexander feels this pressure. Niles Morgan comes, it's a one-on-one blitz, watch him knock it back. Davis feels it and then has to move. As that's happening, Tiger Shanks is getting pushed, so it forces him wide. Can't get it, but really good pressure by this Redblacks defense. We know Niles Morgan can do a lot making tackles, but he can also rush the passer. Some of these linebackers have got to do more than tackle in space. They've got to be able to rush the passer, hold up against the
Montreal
run.
numéro 10, ça va être 3e essai. Intentional grounding, Montreal number 10. It's going to be 3rd down.
And we've seen plenty of Ben Major, our referee here tonight, early on, and you also see the blue ribbon that he has on this weekend, the officials in support of the police and community. After the news and the events, not just here in Montreal, but a few other places around the country, and plenty of former officers involved in the officiating ranks in the Canadian Football League, and our sport thoughts with them this week as the punt goes out of bounds. And for the first time, we get an opportunity to go down and hear from Kenzie Lalonde with more on Ryan Dinwiddie. And Kenza, an eventful week, I would say.
Yeah, Ryan Dinwiddie saying this week the goal is to simplify things. So he condensed the playbook, saying he cut roughly 40 plays, sitting about 47 right now. He said the goal was to see clearer execution. So instead of having 5 or 6 dynamic RPOs, he's sitting at about 3, and he wants to see them run well and run really efficiently. And that idea for him and overall mindset is just to be assignment sound. That's what he wants to see from his offense today.
The idea of simplifying things, cutting down, makes a lot of sense. Just execution. Can you find a way to move the football and put points on the board? Teams have been doing it against this Alouettes defense. Tyrese Beverette sitting out watching last week. Laponi said he hated it because for back-to-back games, it's been 30-plus against the Owls defense, and the standard is 17 points. Like, we cannot give up more than 17. That's
a lot of big plays, too. You know, interesting, talking to Ryan Dinwiddie before the game, and I love talking conversations about this. I'm like, 47 plays, huh? He's like, well, you don't count the short yardage and the goal line stuff. So, you know, it is 47 plays on their base call sheet, and then you got to add the 15 red zone and score goal line plays. So a little bit more than that, but certainly being smart, minimizing the play.
Bear turns around, hands it off, and a jump cut here to the outside. going nowhere. It is Greg Bell, though, back into the game, and that will do it for the first quarter of play as 3rd and short deep in their own end to begin the second quarter for the Ottawa Redblacks. As Davis Alexander, he's at 14 starts, but no more than 3 games in a row being healthy. This is the first time in his career, and it's off to a good start with a big touchdown pass to Alexander Hollins that leads the way for Montreal. This week, a big decision made in the backfield for the Ottawa Redblacks, trading away Drew Brown, McLeod Bethel-Thompson on his way in, and at this point, it is Jake Maier, the starter, 2 for 2 in an entire quarter of Canadian football in a year in which, Lapo, you've got multiple quarterbacks going 400 plus like it's absolutely nothing. Time of possession as well in and around 4 minutes right now for the Redblacks. What do they got to do to get going?
Well, we're going to say this. They're 100% completion, so that's very good. But 16 yards, and like they're trying to establish run. You can see that. 5 yards a carry for Greg Bell. But the defense, I'm going to say, for the Ottawa Redblacks has got to help too, because there's 9 first downs right now for the Montreal Alouettes. So the Montreal Alouettes have controlled the quarter by holding onto the football, giving Ottawa not a lot of opportunities. So, and the Redblacks had a couple of penalties that forced them into second and extra situations, and nobody's going to survive second and extra consistently.
They begin by punting it away to Mario Alford at his own 45-yard line. 50-yard punt and return up around 15 yards. We talked about Lewis Ward being a factor in this back and forth rivalry. Well, there hasn't been much back or forth. It has been very one-sided, as in case you were wondering, a little over 1,300 days since the last time.
I won one of those games in 2022. That's how long it was.
Did you win the other one?
No, I don't think so. I think I won one of those 2.
But it's a one-sided rivalry, but it's interesting in a 19 league. You really don't feel like Ottawa has been taking the back seat to this rivalry, despite the fact that it's been so long. So they've been in plenty of those games, as usual, coming down to the final 3 minutes here in the Canadian Football League, but haven't been able to finish it off as Alexander looks to throw outside. What a beautiful hands catch by Tyson Philpott for the first down.
Tyson Philpott just so good, and because of the explosive plays, you better back up and give him a cushion. Hard play action, and then I'm just going to throw a one-on-one on the outside, because we're going to have to back up because Tyson Philpott's got a lot of shots. This is a deep comeback, comes out of a great location by Davis. That's what you talk about. Get nice, easy first downs on first down.
Got the Canadian Air Force logo on those gloves as well. Bright red gloves going here tonight in week 4 as Alexander fakes it to Travis Tyson in the backfield. Pressure is coming off the backside. CJ Revis, and Alexander floating to his right, gets it to Philpott, who loses his bucket and hangs on.
This is greatness from the quarterback position. Davis Alexander, we talked about his legs already, but he is sprinting to the right. He's running all the way across the field. You see Tyson Philpott right here on our screen here. He's going to come all the way across this field, and he's on the back side of this. He's not even close to where the primary read is. But Davis Alexander's sprinting across the field, and look at that location on that football to Tyson. And then the best thing that Tyson does, Bennett Williams in there to give him a what for, and he's able to hold on to the football.
We'll give it to Travis Tice as the running back who starred last week. Plenty of all-purpose yardage. Bounces his way down inside the 1. But, I mean, yeah, Tyson being able to catch up on the backside is great, but the throw.
The throw was unbelievable, David. I don't know if we could get another shot of that sooner or later, but that was an amazing. He's sprinting to his right, and Alexander then finds it, puts it right on the money, right in Tyson Philpott's hands. Anything else off the framework of the body of the hands, it's not going to be a catch. Watch this right here. He's running to the right, all the way across, and a perfect location. If it's high, low, off to the side, it's going to be incomplete because of the collision.
Short yardage package is in for the Montreal Alouettes. Dustin Crum into the end zone as flags fly, and they will be offside against the Redblacks defensive line. And the Alouettes increase their lead with Cyril Hogan-St-Dong doing the spiking duties.
Ottawa number 8, penalty décliné, touché. Offside, Ottawa number 8, the penalties decline. It's a touchdown.
I always felt that offensive linemen kind of need to go to school to celebrate plays, because sometimes they're just not really good at the spiking and stuff. Here you see Dustin Crum just following the big men. The big men are there's going to be a mass of bodies. You're trying to stay as low as you can, and then you just keep your shoulders moving Dustin Crum's made a living in that last couple years.
Well,
came over from the Redblacks last season.
I was gonna say, did plenty of the short yardage plunge work for the Ottawa Redblacks. Bit of a pipeline going with the backup position. Caleb Evans came over, handled short yardage here in Montreal, got injured, and Dustin Crum jumping into the fray in free agency this season. Davis Alexander making a difference. What a throw, rolling to his right to Tyson Philpott. Last year with Davis Alexander, 33 points per game. Without him, just 18. The difference maker gets it to Crum at the 1, and Alouettes extend their lead.
Call it the Tyson Philpott drive. Start with a hard play action, throw it out on the perimeter, the outside. Philpott's there for the nice secured play, and then come all the way across the field, being an outlet for the quarterback, staying alive. Beautiful throw by Davis Alexander to get it close. We get Tice for a 4-yard gain, and then it's Crum time. Get him in there. In for the short yardage wedge. So four plays, 51 yards, 2:11 off the clock.
Davis Alexander 9 of 12 for 153 right now. As Khalil Pimpleton returns this kickoff across the 40-yard line, just barely. And Jake Mayer back out onto the field.
And what's interesting, you would think for this football team, Jake Mayer's like, oh, we're playing Montreal. Well, Montreal so far defensively has really struggled in some areas, giving up the most big plays this year defensively, and you know, playing 2 young corners. Here's a crazy stat about where we are in the Canadian Football League this year. Montreal's the 3rd best scoring defense in the CFL, but they're giving up 30 points a game. Right? That's kind of unheard of, but it just shows how the offenses have started this season, and that's what Jake Mayer is trying to get into.
Well, and you get a look at this defense. Michael Alouette, Kenton Arcou, Tyrese Beverette. Not an easy assignment for Jake Mayer here in a Week 4 test as he fades away, completing this one out to the right-hand side and cutting back against the grain. Beating that defense is Greg Bell, who picks up a first down.
Hard play action with a downfield shot, but you're always talking to your quarterback. You're never going to go broke, put money in the bank. He recognizes nothing open. I'm going to hit as the coverage is lifted, I'm going to put Greg Bell, give him the ball in space, and see if Robert Kennedy can make the play. He can't. Great the first down on first down with throwing the check down. Really good start for this drive.
And still 100%, 3 for 3.
3 for 3.
First down of this quarter is Mayer. Quick little play action flick. Completes this one. Keelan White, second year out of Montana, makes the grab. As McLeod Bethel Thompson with Ryan Dinwiddie back in their time with the Toronto Argonauts. Plenty of experience, obviously, and Dinwiddie telling us this week that he is extremely thankful because when Drew Brown requested to be released and they ended up having to trade him and he goes to Winnipeg, said we needed somebody to come in. I just called Mac and said, would you be interested? Is your arm up to shape? Have you been staying in good playing shape? He said, yeah, we'll get you up to speed, no problem.
And they've played together. They know the system. He already knows it, so it's an easy transition when he gets it.
Inside run fake once again. This one ripped. And caught bouncing off a tackler. It is Cade McDonald getting the look. First year out of Miami of Ohio. Had to do a double take for a second. I thought that was Tyler Sneed, the undersized outside pass catcher.
Great team defense running down. The ball's caught out in the flat, but they rally up, make the tackle. You got Beverette and company there to create basically a 2-yard gain on 2nd and 7, get them off the field. And McLeod Bethel Thompson, back to that, like this trade would not, I know that there was talk about Drew Brown wasn't happy and there's some eggshells going on. Drew Brown was going to be a Redblack unless McLeod Bethel Thompson was available.
Right.
So you're going to check that, see if you can get a quarterback that's got experience, then you can make the trade, make your team better.
Mario Alford returns the punt. Noah Getman getting out the lob wedge that time and hanging it high in the air as it drops down, and Tyson Philpott, forever dangerous, number 6, goes back to work. When we return here to Montreal.
Didn't we say double team that guy? Get another guy covering him. Zone and man on him.
Tyson Philpott, we all made a big deal about it last time the Alouettes were at home in Week 2 because he had 193 yards, and then going into Week 3 at Edmonton, he said, well, it's not nearly as good as my 238 that I had at Saskatchewan in 2025. You got to look at the production he's had. If he's not injured, he might have been already most outstanding Canadian and beyond, as his pace for this season is just astronomical. And Montreal begins with an inside handoff, but Tyson Philpott has really unlocked, it feels like, this offense, and not sure we knew it was going to be a perfect pairing with Davis Alexander, but it's hard to argue against it right now.
And a little different. They use him they move him around a little bit, but for the most part, he plays to the wide side of the field. So as an offense, they've done a really good job finding ways to get him the ball. And like, this was a stat this week, like the past 3 games is the highest passing they've ever had in, 1,300, almost 1,300 yards in 3 games. Only other times that would happen, Anthony Calvillo and Sam Etcheverry.
Wild. The best of the best in Montreal football history as Alexander goes over the top once again and drops it in, but incomplete. What an opportunity that was for Kasim Ferdinand.
Scott Hutter playing free safety, had 2 interceptions this week, does a really good job coming off the middle of the field and trying to get his hand in there just at the last second. Excellent. Was on the Owls last year, but hey, he had 2 interceptions last week. I want to put a new term up. There's the Canadian Air Force back in the day, the receivers. This is the Canadian Defense Shield. All interceptions by the Redblacks came from Canadian players.
Love it. Kasim Ferdinand, by the way, 4 games played last year, no targets, no catches. In his first opportunity last week at Edmonton, 5 targets, 4 catches. So maybe they were trying to reward his hard effort and how good he looked in that game on the road in week 3. But falls incomplete for Ferdinand as down the field, Davis Alexander goes once again, forcing you to defend every inch of this Canadian turf. You are looking at the leader in defensive tackles in 2025 in the entire Canadian Football League, relegated to backup to start this season, but he's earning his stripes here in Montreal once again. Down to Kenzie Lalonde with more.
Schilling coming off last week's loss to the Elks. Jason Moss saying at times there were some missed tackles. And Micah Alway has said since the beginning of being a professional football player, he has always done extra tackling drills, whether it's after practice, but he also does one on game day, and that is tackling the goalpost. Yes, he goes up against the goalpost. He said it's always the hardest hit, but it prepares him for in-game.
Love it, Ken. Said he's constantly learning and evolving as well as Jake Mayer fades away, and I'm sure he completed this one trying to dig it out in front of Josh Archibald. They'll say incomplete. Yeah, Michael Alway is a special player, as the first incompletion for Jake Mayer in this ball game. And talking about tackling, he said he's got teammates that had spoken about, trying to track down chickens in the fields in Texas and all these different things that they use in their offseason to get ready. He is an absolute monster on the football field, but such an interesting mind, an interesting guy to talk to about concepts, defensive, offensive schemes, mindset, all of it. Great analyst of the Canadian game as he digs in the middle against Mayer here on second and long. Tyrese Beverette gets the hit, ball up in the air, and they'll call it incomplete, but Beverette flies around the edge in his return to the lineup here in week 4.
The hard part about Tyrese Beverette is when he rushes the passer, he comes with such speed. You got Zach Pelios in his first start. You're going to see right off the edge, late, he's going to come up and then blitz off the edge. But watch Zach Pelios. He doesn't do a good job getting his hands. He lunges at him, creates a short edge, and Tyrese is right around him to make a play. There's no opportunity for Jake Mayer to find this ball downfield, but the speed, dip underneath the right tackle and make the play. One of the reasons Mike Alway, obviously not starting, because the play of Tyrese Beverette coming back puts Geoffrey Canton-Arcou at the middle linebacker, right? And now you've got some guys that can really rush the passer, can do a lot of things.
I mean, take a look at that bench there as we see the injured Redblack down on the turf and getting looked at. But that shot of Noel Thorpe talking to the linebacking crew is good to see. Looks like up onto his feet, the Redblacks receiver. But I mean, that group right there, Michael Alway, you talk about a leading tackler, a true middle linebacker, a downhill or a thumper. Tyrese Beverette is a little bit of a defensive back slash linebacker. Canton-Arcou is a bit of a defensive lineman slash linebacker. It's almost like a Venn diagram, if you will, of overlap, and they all happen to play linebacker.
AJ Gass had a bad linebacker back in the day, watching that video with them going through. And this team is loaded at some of these skill positions. Here's a name, Tyrell Richards, who plays mostly special teams, but he's got He was tied for first in the CFL last year in special teams tackles with Alexandre Gagne, who is also tied for first in the CFL. So there's a wealth of depth at these positions, and that's why you see so many different pieces from this Montreal Alouette defense. The Will linebacker at times, he's got to play free safety. The Sam linebacker, the strong side linebacker, sometimes he's going to roll to free safety. That's why it's difficult to play this team. They give you a lot of different looks dropping out into zones.
Ben Major has a call for us.
Ottawa avait demandé une révision du dernier jeu. Suite à la révision, il y a rudesse sur le passeur contre Montréal, numéro 96, une pénalité de 15 verges. Ça donne un premier essai à Ottawa. Ottawa had challenged the last play for roughing the passer. We are calling roughing the passer against Montreal 96. 15-yard penalty, first down for Ottawa.
26, you have Tyrese Beverette, so they took a look at it here and I guess got up high on Mayer.
You know, any time in the CFL, it doesn't matter whether you say, well, that wasn't a hard hit or whatever. If you create a blow that hits a quarterback or any player, you're not allowed to hit a player in the head in any way, shape, or form. That's what draws the penalty.
Mayer tries to go hard count, get a look at the Alouettes defense, and checks in.
Better get it off.
With Justin Hardy. Has just got the snap off. As you say, Lapo to the outside. Good throw by Mayer. And on point, Keelan White down the right sideline. Gets hacked out of bounds. But a big pickup and connection that time from Mayer to White.
It's great to see Keelan White getting this nice pass out in the flat. This is just an out route. You're reading what happens, right? You're going to see an out route with two verticals, and you just read what if everybody lifts, I'm going to take the out route to the wide side of the field. This is thrown very well. Najee Mary's not in a position to make it. Keelan White makes a miss. They've moved Keelan White into slot, and they think he can be a dynamic player in this offense as he's moved him closer to the ball this season.
Crowd is into it as well as Mayer has to check at the line of scrimmage, and he looks into the end zone over the top for a Neverhart jump ball, incomplete. Good defense that time from Kennedy III, playing at field halfback here tonight in his third year at NC State.
Yeah, Robert Kennedy was a Week 1 hero with the pick 6 in Week 1 and the forced fumble against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He's a deep player. He's got good positioning. The biggest thing you have to do as a defensive back in the end zone, just be calm, make your jump ball, don't get your hands involved, don't create a penalty on a ball that's not going to be caught.
Critical moment late in this first half for Jake Mayer and the Ottawa Redblacks offense. Blitz is on, pressure coming, Mayer! Throw into the turf! Mustafa Johnson couldn't be stopped.
Multiple defensive pictures, different things happening. When you look at the start of this play, I'm going, what are they doing up front? There's only two defensive linemen. What happens? You start twisting. Carton-Arcus coming off on a twist. So you have multiple guys. Gets the offensive line confused. Jake Mayer's got nowhere to go with the football because the depth of the pocket is destroyed by the twist.
I'll tell you what, that was a 300-pound man, and the big moose, Mustafa Johnson, he got real skinny real quick, turning sideways and knifing through that gap. As the 2026 FIFA World Cup round of 32 features the Netherlands taking on Morocco tomorrow, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on TSN. How about the 91st minute today, Stefan Estacio started the game as captain. 1-0 victory over South Africa, and into the round of 16 goes Canada. They will play the winner of that Netherlands and Morocco game. Again, that is tomorrow, and then the next match for Canada is Saturday in Houston. For Team Canada, the men's soccer programs. Quick screen out to the left-hand side here. Tyler Sneed adds to his tally on the day. By the way, Toronto hosting a Portugal versus Croatia match on Thursday. As someone who lives in and around the GTA, mayhem.
Nice.
Portugal playing in Toronto is going to be crazy.
Well, there's a lot of screaming up here when we were watching that game. Amazing. When Canada scored the goal as we were prepping to get ready for this game.
Feel the energy around the program. Difficult loss in the final group stage match against Switzerland. And that Swiss team plays in Vancouver as well on Thursday. This inside handoff. Stevie Scott picks up the first down. Churning the hard yards. Not the explosive stuff that we saw by a running back that played against Montreal last week in Justin Rankin, but Stevie Scott earning it snap after snap.
So 3 explosive plays already in this game, but this is what you get a lot of. They're controlling the line of scrimmage. They're getting 2nd and 2 to 3 so they can keep running the football, run the clock, keep the ball away from the Redblacks offense.
Cole Speaker onto the 6-game injured list, as well as Jarrett Stearns after he broke the 100-yard mark for the first time in his Alouettes career, coming over in free agency from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And so there are some pieces missing for both sides already early in the season, but that guy doesn't care. He's just ripping it all over the field.
You know, and this is part of the course for Jason Moss and his team. They've got the fewest 2-and-outs in the Canadian Football League because they're in so many 2nd and shorts and so many short control pass games.
Alexander over the top, double move. Tyler Sneed fading. Looking for the old Willie Mays over the shoulder grab, but couldn't track it down.
A little bit of an inside move by Sneed, pretending I'm running a dig, and then he just breaks vertically up the field on the shot play. Shakir Brown gives up a little bit inside position, but he's able to trail and stay with Sneed.
3.5 minutes remaining here in this first half. Ottawa keeping it manageable the way they did against the Toronto Argonauts last week. Plenty more turnovers in that matchup. As Alexander looks to his right, quick throw and incomplete. Not sure if he got bumped on the release. CJ Rivas, as always, in close to the action. Pressure on here from the Redblacks. Good job up front getting after Alexander.
A.J. Allen coming off the edge. CJ Rivas coming in, trying to hurry up the throw and get something. Forces the errant throw on the outside.
And whistles blow this play dead before it comes to life as the 3-minute warning has struck here in Montreal. But the 0-2 Redblacks looking for some life at the end of the first half. Ryan Dinwiddie searching for that elusive first victory.
We're at the 3-minute warning, so that means checking back in with our panel. We'll get the thoughts from Dave and making notes.
Making some notes.
Always making notes. We've got lots to talk about in this first half. Ottawa still within striking distance. Plus, we'll have all the highlights from what has been an eventful week number 4.
Sunset here in Montreal. Temperature starting to drop just a little bit after the rainstorms rolled through earlier on in the day, but back and forth battle they go. Should be a good one into this second half as Khalil Pimpleton grabs the punt at his own 15-yard line and makes the most of it after a 44-yard punt. And so the Ottawa Redblacks get the football and an opportunity here to tighten down the screws a little bit on the gap for Jake Maier, trying to make a statement and hold on to his starting quarterback job.
Trying to get something going before the half. They're in a pretty good spot for the explosives they've given up, that they're only down 8.
Again, the multiple looks this defense can throw. This time it's just Beverett and Kenton Arku playing in the middle. And the pressure gets there again. The Ottawa offensive line having a heck of a time as Daniel Wise this time follows up the early action by Isaac Adeyemi Berglund and the most recent sack by Mustafa Johnson.
One-on-one, you got to handle your one-on-ones here. Sean McEwen gets beat, gets bench press off. And as Jake doesn't have time to throw his check down, they've got to find ways to get the ball out of their hand quicker, give him easier throws, or get better protection. It's hard to protect inside at times.
They'll go with a safe pitch this time, just screen it out.
And this is exactly what we talked about already. Ryan Dinwiddie said last week we were in 2nd and long too much. Once again on 1st down, not getting any productivity, forcing 2nd and long. You're going to be off the field when you're in 2nd and extra.
Well, the biggest thing is, well, when you're always trailing, right? Like through the first couple of games, Ottawa has yet to hold the lead, and coming into here where it basically did what he said. It was the simple plays, the easy stuff on 1st down that were setting us back and causing headaches. And a quick 2-and-out will add to that tally is Alford after a 58-yard punt. The veteran from West Virginia heads down the left rail and a big special teams tackle, but Alford right in front of his special teams coordinator, Byron Archambault. Flips the field and gives life to the Alouettes with 2:06 remaining in the half.
Conduite répréhensible contre le banc d'Ottawa. C'est une pénalité de diverge. D'où le ballon est mort. Premier essai Montréal. Objectionable conduct against the Ottawa bench. It's going to be 10 yards applied from the end of the play. First down for Montreal.
Not sure what we can see, if we can see how this happened. It might have been a coach too far on the sideline that an official ran into. That's one of the new rules have been strictly enforced, but a huge return to the wide side of the field by Mario Alford sets Montreal up in great field position before the half.
21 games with the Alouettes back in 19 and 21 as Alexander down the right side. Easy money. Tyson Philpott. As Davis Alexander, did he take a late shot after throwing that dime on his feet and gingerly walking forward with a flag down in the offensive backfield?
Having a system of plays that look alike to distract the defense. This is a fake screen pass, which they've already run to freeze Shakir Brown, and then you're going to go ahead and get the shot. They fake it and then throw it deep, and you can see the shot Davis Alexander takes at the end. It's dangerous position when your foot is planted.
Yeah, Mufta Ejili, I don't think there was any intent there, just trying to make his way to the quarterback, and the helmet hit the wrong spot at the wrong time. And
crumb time.
It's great to see Davis up and moving around smoothly right now on the sidelines. Tough as anyone in the CFL. But Dustin Crum comes in as they add the penalty yardage on. And Crum with his second plunge of the ball game. Looks like they'll spot him just shy. Those are the scary ones for the quarterback. Standing in the pocket when the helmets start dropping in and around, but Alexander doesn't look too
Niles Morgan is the one who does this. The line gets low, and watch Niles Morgan. He's just going to jump, and he'll stop the momentum of the quarterback so the ball doesn't cross the line. So excellent play by the linebacker. When you're breaking down film, you want to know if that linebacker is going to be a jumper and jump over and go a different direction.
And they go Travis Tice this time in the backfield at quarterback.
Little worried about this flag, though, Marshall.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, this is going to be probably a defensive player for being offsides.
Hors-jeu, Ottawa numéro 8. Ça va être redevient premier essai pour Montréal. Offside, Ottawa number 8. Once again, it's going to be first down for Montreal.
Spot on, Lapo. They get a fresh set offensively here after getting stuffed to back-to-back plays.
They called C.J. Rivas for this being offsides. And it's pretty easy to tell when you're at the 1-yard line what this is. Difficult penalty, crucial mistake here at the 1-yard line.
All of a sudden it feels like a long one, but Crum goes and gets it. Touchdown Alouettes. They extend their lead before half, due in large part to 2 big plays. The Alford return, and then down the right sideline to Tyson Philpott.
You go down the right sideline. Why? Because Niles Morgan jumped twice and knocked your quarterback. So now this time, all right, you see big Niles Morgan right there? Nope, I'm going to go off tackle, make it harder for Niles Morgan to jump into that space. So good execution on the off tackle quarterback sneak. Another huge drive right before the half to put points on the board.
And the separation right now in the East Division between the Ottawa Redblacks and the Montreal Alouettes when it comes to the win-loss column comes down to little sequences like that, right, Lapo? Just the idea of Ottawa, chance with the ball in their hands, 2 minutes to go. They go 2 and out, give up a sack, and then all of a sudden flip the field with special teams, and then it's 30 seconds later, and it's a touchdown on the board for the Montreal Alouettes. Save big this summer and stream the hottest shows, movies, HBO exclusives, and select sports. Now on Crave. Scan the QR code on the screen and get 40% off Crave with a premium annual plan. I was coming up with a concept for a new show that's available only on Crave. You want my elevator pitch?
I would love to hear what your show is.
Yeah. So we see there Jason Moss coaching things over with Davis Alexander. I was thinking about Ryan Dinwiddie working with McLeod Bethel-Thompson. How about a little show we like to call The Fixer, where you bring in Macbeth, and he's supposed to just fix your football team in short order.
Okay.
They got legs?
The Fixer. We'll see. We'll call somebody a Crave and see.
The reason that I say that is because you did say this week, like,
Quit your day job.
Well,
what was that? I'm sorry.
McLeod Bethel-Thompson. There's probably other teams in the CFL that would have been interested in him if anything goes wrong at quarterback, right? Veteran guy.
If you could do this and do Kevin Glenn also, right? Kevin Glenn could be part of the Fixer, right?
Yeah.
Michael Bishop for the veteran CFLers.
Now we're talking.
All these
Cameos from the veterans?
Yes, all these former quarterbacks.
Who's the best fixer in your coaching career that you were working with?
Best fixer?
Yeah. Think it over. No pressure. Attaboy.
Kerwin Bell.
Thinking it over. There it is with Cleo Pimpleton. And tracked down from behind. Special teams effort that time.
So with 1:28 left, like there's a little bit of situational football that has to happen for Ottawa. Ottawa obviously wants to put some points on the board. They're not far away from a field goal, but the worst thing that can happen here is 2 incomplete passes, punting the football, and leaving more time on the clock on a short field for this Montreal offense. So it's real important they get points on the board, yes, but they've got to also make sure that they don't give Montreal another opportunity offensively.
Looks deep and then finds on that right sideline, hiding the diminutive Khalil Pimpleton, who gets blown out of bounds by Najee Murray. And Jason Moss
got a late flag here too
in the line of fire as well on the sideline. So in short succession, you've seen Davis Alexander get popped down low, and now Jason Moss, even without the helmet on.
Why you love these, the smaller guys out on the perimeter, when there's so much space, if they can make one person miss, it's going to be big plays to the wide side of the field. That's a huge play right there by Pimpleton. The lower power strength is so good. Jason.
Rudesse, Montréal, numéro 26. On avance de 15 verges.
That guy's taking a hit or two.
Roughing, Montreal 26. Will go up 15 yards, first down for Ottawa.
I mean, putting salt directly into the wound because Moss is going to rip him in film as well.
See Davis Alexander checking on his head coach.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? And he's going to say he's fine, right?
Bad
Late
penalty,
right there,
but
knocking Eberhardt into his head coach.
Gives Ottawa good field position here at the end of the first half. This one, an absolute light beam that bounces off the hands of the intended receiver.
And this is one of the things about like the Redblacks offense, how they got to play it with Jake Maier as their starting quarterback. Jake Maier's not going to create with his legs. He's just not going to be a scrambler. So everybody else around him, when he locates the ball, finds the right guy, when they pick everybody up, you got to catch the football. Like, it has to be perfect. You got to move people out in zones, find the open player, but then you got to finish your job. You're not going to get the scrambling from Jake Maier.
Blitz coming from the secondary. Najee Murray couldn't get there. Maier goes vertical, underthrown, and intercepted. He was looking for Khalil Pimpleton, but instead it's a turnover for Fayon Hicks. No, actually, that's Wesley Sutton.
Sometimes these wide side throws downfield, you want to put it on a rope instead of trying to throw it over the top. And what you're going to see is the safety is moving off this hash. It looks open early, but it closes quickly because the safeties do such a good job. And you can see that happening. Great move by Wesley Sutton getting underneath. The ball's got to be on a line if you're going to try to put it there because Sutton's going to be over it's in the air too long. Sutton's right there to make the play. And a great takeaway by, once again, the defense of the Owls.
So Wesley Sutton celebrates, and the Alouettes defense doing their job so far here at home in week 4 with a minute to go. It is Davis Alexander back in the ball game.
And for the Redblacks, one of the things they have to perform better at and is certainly the turnover margin, right? They've got 2 games this season. They've had 5 turnovers in each of those games. So if you're turning the ball over 5 times off, you're just putting your defense in a difficult position. And once again, you're close to field goal range on that last one. Now you get no points with the turnovers. They got to clean up the turnover margin.
Cyril Hogan St. Don, the center, in for Justin Lawrence, who's on the injured list. Digs in and makes the protection calls as it's coming, but quickly out of Davis Alexander's hands and into Tyler Sneed's for another completion. As this looks like it will be just shy of the sticks, or will it?
I think it's going to be a 3rd and short on the quick little hitch play. So I think they're going to go tempo right here as fast as they can once it gets marked.
Timeout. Ottawa. Timeout, Ottawa.
You gotta love referee Ben Major, because Montreal wanted to go quickly. Davis Alexander was all fired up, Lapo, and Ben, as he's making that call, is walking over the football to make sure it doesn't get snapped.
Right. That's part of their protocol, and the reason the Alouettes, they're trying to get this first so they can conserve as much time to try to see if they got 41 seconds get down in field goal range.
They won't say it, because they know that Davis Alexander being undefeated in the regular season really didn't mean anything. Eventually he's going to lose a game or whatever. But don't you feel like the Moss-Alexander combo is kind of on another level of fired up here tonight? Like, you come home off of a loss, play in front of your crowd.
Yeah, and Tyson Philpott in the mix.
Right.
A lot of fun. A lot of fun in games here.
Not that Alexander and Moss are ever not fiery, but calls like this deep in your own end, plunging forward on 3rd and short. Showed it. Like, that is a really interesting call at the end of the half, because it's guaranteed points and a field goal going the other direction if you don't move the chains, but they do.
I think it's a much safer call. As a play caller who has done that before, than people think. You're like, we're backed up. When it's 3rd and inches, when players line up a yard off the ball, you should trust your offensive line. You should say, hey, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to leave any opportunity to punt the ball back to Ottawa to get any plays before the half.
Alexander once again with Travis Tice and Stevie Scott in the backfield alongside him. Will hand it off to Tice. Wrapped up and rolled down. A host of Redblacks tacklers. Lapalese, you got something you got to do at halftime? What do you?
So I have to run down at halftime as a Team Canada men's national team. Is
going to the concessions? What are you doing?
No, we have a 8-minute inter-squad scrimmage with our team, so I've got to sprint down to the sideline and be ready to call a flag football game.
Amazing.
I'll see you later.
He's done this whole half standing in the booth in Team Canada flag football shorts and high top Jordan.
Yes. No better look. Sport coat, suit.
Get down there. Go do your job. Davis Alexander happy with the first half of action, I'm sure, despite getting nicked a couple of different times. Tyler Sneed, efficient as ever. Tyson Philpott, standout effort. As Ottawa will get their choice on football to get the second half underway coming up. And Alexander Hollins, downfield threat as Davis Alexander looking his way the whole way. Early on, over the top, past Shakur Brown. And Alexander with eyes for the deep ball as much as ever here in Montreal. We throw it down to Kenzie Lalonde, who's alongside Hollins.
Well, Alexander, when I spoke to Alfie Calvillo this week, he said our goal is to sustain drives. Well, your offense was out there for a while, over 19 minutes. What was working for you guys?
We just, any play that we caught, we just try to execute it the best that we possibly could, drive the ball down the field and just try to put some points on the board.
Pick up your first touchdown of the season in a play where we saw Davis Alexander use his legs. He did that as well with Tyson Philpott just sprinting. When he uses his mobility, how does that open things up for you?
Man, he's a great quarterback, man. He can do it all. He can make any throw on the field. So, whatever play that we call, you know what I'm saying, we just get open, and he's gonna make the throw anytime.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, Laura, over to you.
Well, we saw last week Davis Alexander suffering his first regular season loss as a starter, dropping his record to, just a casual 13-1, and he is off to a great start in this first half with 203 yards passing as the Alouettes have the 21-6 lead. We're with Dave Naylor as well as Stavros Katsantonis. Nailed it. Nailed it. All right. Well, Stavros, this is the point that you brought up in our pregame show just before kickoff of this one, that Montreal, and we know all the weapons that they have on offense and how they love to throw the deep ball, which is what Ottawa is vulnerable and that defense against. And so far, it has been checkmate for the Alouettes.
And we talked about it pregame. Ottawa's secondary had to do a great job of limiting those 30-plus yard completions. And we saw about 3 of those in the first half, one of them for a big touchdown. Davis did a great job of sort of stepping up in the pocket there, making a giant throw. And we got to get the x-ray machine back out because we got another dog on the floor. a couple barks there for Alex Hollins, who makes a phenomenal catch here. Davis just doing his thing, lasering this ball downfield, getting in behind coverage in the defense. And, I mean, what can you ask more there from the receiver making a play? I mean, what an absolute bomb. Davis extending the play. And then we're going to go to our next guy here. We got Tyson Philpott. We talked about him in the pregame. We know what the x-ray says about him. Davis throws it down to him. He makes a great catch and takes a monster hit, gets up, flexes on everybody right there. Way to hold on to the ball for him there and get them into another scoring situation before half. And then here we go. They fake that one there, throw it deep down to Tyson, and he makes a phenomenal catch here on the sideline to set up another score. I mean, what do we do? What's going on here? We got big plays everywhere.
Right, and a 3-headed scary monster when it comes to that wide receiving core for the Montreal Alouettes, and a tough assignment, yes, for the Redblacks defense. They had Chad Kelly, gave up 424 passing to him last week, and now they've got to contend with Davis Alexander, who's on his way to another 400-yard game. On the other side of things, we were curious to see, yeah, this is Jake Mayer's show now, right? We don't have Drew Brown in Ottawa anymore, and we heard about the condensed playbook that they're putting out in Dinwiddie as well, but it struggled big time. The offense, once again, perhaps taking a step back.
Yeah, I think the one thing you're looking for if you're an Ottawa fan is you want to see progress. You want to see improvement. We know Ryan Dinwiddie's bringing a new offense. He hadn't worked with Jake Mayers before, but this has been a regression. This is the second play on offense for them, a second and short, and it turns into an intentional grounding, throwing to an offensive lineman. And look, Jake Mayer's been under pressure all night. He's taken 3 sacks. There are a number of plays that he's had to throw away, and when he has had time, he's had trouble finding receivers. I mean, he's only thrown 6 passes at wide receivers all night so far in the first half of the game. And you look at who gets the targets on Ottawa for their first 2 games. Aiden Eberhardt at 18. He's got 1 tonight. Geno Lewis at 16. He's not playing tonight. And the guy who's replacing him has none. Khalil Pimpleton at 10. He's got 2. And really, it's the only deep pass we've seen Jake Mayer attempt was right before halftime, and it got picked. You're just not seeing a vertical passing game. It just looks like an offense that's completely out of sync.
And that's kind of been the issue for this Redblacks offense so far, right? Turnovers, they've got the only one of the game as well, not able to convert those points, make them into touchdowns, which we saw only 2 field goals for them there in that first half. We mentioned how Paul LaPolice had a very busy day here. Yep, pulling double duty. He's got the shorts on.
Shorts?
He's ready. Yeah, the Canadian men's flag football team having a scrimmage tonight at Percival Molson Stadium. Lapo, he's got the suit jacket on. It's hot out there.
Those calves.
Well, let's show you what went down already here in week 4. This was Thursday, Elks and Bombers, and it's Justin Rankin racking up those yards once again. He had 106 of them on Thursday on 15 carries. He's had at least 100 yards in every game this season. The Bombers, though, would take the lead in the 4th. 9 seconds, though. It's Cody Fajardo to TJ Luther. Edmonton now 3-0 for the first time in 9 years, the only undefeated team left. Why? Because the Argos were in Regina on Friday to take on the Riders. Here in the 4th, Riders have the ball, but it's a Darius Pickett. And it's recovered by Toronto. Pickett returning to the Argos after spending the last 2 seasons in Ottawa. So the Argos grab onto that football, and they would convert that into points. Chad Kelly to Tyler Common, the rookie, making quite the statement. He had 2 touchdown catches along with 89 yards as, yes, the Argos hand the Riders their first loss of the season. And then this was last night, touchdown Kelowna, Stamps and Lions. One of these teams was going to win their first game of the season. It was not the Lions. Tyreek McAllister runs it all the way back. 90-yard return touchdown. Last week he returned a missed field goal, 120 for the score. Seals the win for the Stamps as the Lions again falling to 0-3. And this was earlier today in Los Angeles. I could watch this all day. Canada playing a World Cup knockout match for the very first time and winning its very first knockout match at the World Cup. Stefan Eustáquio, the difference maker in stoppage time as Canada through to the round of 16 as they await their next opponent. We had a big Stephen Eustáquio poster outside. I should have brought it in, be part of our panel here. Let's talk about these BC Lions, though. 0-3 for the first time now since 2019. They started that campaign 1-10, and yes, we know Nathan Rourke, fantastic in the game yesterday, 462 yards. But Dave, issues for the Lions on both sides of the ball.
Can I make it 3 sides to the ball? Because special teams was a bit of a disaster for them as well, right from really the opening of the game. And you saw the Tyreek McAllister run. And look, the offensive line has got some issues. Nathan Rourke racked up the yardage, but he was under pressure, took a bunch of sacks. Defensively, they kind of spoiled the first half where they played pretty well defensively, but you had those 2 touchdowns with the turnover. And then in the second half, you saw the defense being picked apart again in the secondary. I mean, it's not a lost cause. I think there are things that are fixable in BC. And unlike the Ottawa game that we're watching, they're not struggling to move the ball down the field, 462 yards, but there's a lot sitting on Nathan Rourke, it feels like.
And you have to feel for Rourke, right? The weight of the entire season is on his shoulders, right? The team goes with the flow of where Rourke goes, and he probably feels like he has to make a lot of plays given the circumstance of how the defense is playing, how their offense is going. So the good thing is, it's a long season. They started 0-5 before they won a Grey Cup.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's probably the messaging in the locker room. Hey, don't panic just yet. Just keep setting the ship there.
But if I asked you in preseason, 3-0 playing 0-3 when Edmonton's playing BC in week 5, not what we would expect.
No, and that is the second game of touchdown Kelowna. And yeah, the schedule not very kind to the BC Lions. And we mentioned that Canada's men's flag football team, part of a scrimmage here in Montreal tonight. Lapo again pulling double duty, head coach, analyst. We saw the calves, we saw the sports shorts. Hopefully he's got his running shoes on because he's got to get back up to the booth and call the second half in this one. Alouettes up 21-6 over the Redblacks.
Getting set for second half action here in Montreal with the Alouettes leading by 15 over the Ottawa Redblacks, 16 first downs to 5. That sums it up. But the defense for the Redblacks trying their best to hold down Davis Alexander. CJ Rivas is alongside our Kenzie Lalonde.
All right, CJ, just kind of take me into the room. What was the environment like at half?
I think just settling down, man, and just doing our job. That's all we got to do. Do our job, lock in, and do the little things right. That's all we got to do.
Montreal's offense found way to sustain drives. How do you disrupt their momentum?
I think just making our plays. The ball going up. When the ball goes, we got to make our plays. Do what we got to do. The game plan we have is a good game plan. We got to just finish, man. Do our thing and finish.
Great. Best of luck.
Thank you.
They have the parts in place, but head coach Ryan Dinwiddie walking down the bench and looking for concrete answers in order to get the Redblacks into the win column. 6 points in that first half. Trying to take advantage of some points off turnovers as well, but not having the opportunity to do that in the first half in this one. Ottawa will receive as Montreal won the coin toss and decided they wanted the football to get things going. Who could blame them with Davis Alexander at the helm? As Jose Maltos Diaz sets it into the sky to get things rolling. Second half action underway to round out week number 4 as Adam Aboye into his hands, and he'll power his way around the corner out past the 40-yard line. And we get an opportunity to see Jake Mayer off the sideline and try to get this offense flourishing once again.
Pretty good completion percentage, but one of the things that this team's got to do better is take some deep shots downfield. Montreal hasn't allowed a bunch of those.
Are you out of breath?
A little bit out of breath running up the stairs.
Are you a method actor, or is this real?
This is real. This is real old age, trying to run upstairs.
Good job.
With no elevator up here.
Mayer, I'll give you a breath. Underneath, they never hurt. And driven through the turf by Joffrey Kenton Arcu. And here's why my man is out of breath. Flying Although I will say the execution, the game plan with the fence, not ideal.
Yeah,
also,
shorts are pretty good. Yeah,
but you didn't get much of an assist with the fencing.
Yeah, this
here
guy
at the
was
bottom.
like, buddy, can I get in here? He's like, no. Right?
Machocha was loving seeing you down there at field level. Got that. His name we haven't said very much of in this ballgame with Micah Awe making the tackle. There's Justin Hardy on the receiving end from Jake Mayer.
First catch of Justin Hardy tonight, and I do want to thank Danny Machocha, who set this all up, giving our opportunity for our players to play here. We have a lot of players on our team, men's and women's flag from Quebec. It's a huge. This is me coming back up the stairs, a little bit tired, more tired. I am in the shorts. I am keeping that we never wear pants on the air because you can see us from top up. Had to do the shorts today.
It's a top 3 challenge to get up the stairs here. Percival Molson, maybe the thin air of McMahon would be on that top list of difficult stairs. But I sympathize with you. As on third down, they run the football here, and Greg Bell does pick up a fresh set. But that was great to have your team out on the turf and to see the support as well from all the Quebec fans. So many Quebecers on your club as well.
Yeah, it was really good to see. You see Greg Bell here. It's third and short. You don't call a lot of these wide zone runs because the opportunity for a negative yardage play. But sometimes they're great to get the ball away from all those big bodies inside. So nice run. Hey, Ottawa's been terrible this season on 3rd and 4. Doing a great job with it. I don't know if you can see my shorts.
Yeah, you want to show them the sweat marks on the dress shirt?
Right.
Stairs are undefeated here in Montreal. This one slides out of the hand of Jake Mayer. That was, you ever go 3/4 of the way through the swing out on the links and then realize that it's just not going to work for you, and all of a sudden it's a bit of a shank? I think that's what just happened.
Not a lot of golf for the football coaches working all summer long. So, no, but it just comes out of his hand weird. Whether he's trying to change the launch point based on Debbie Berglund's hands coming up, it just misconnected to force another 2nd and long where they've struggled all night.
Pressure look from the Alouettes. They bail out, but they do blitz Wesley Sutton off the edge. Complete underneath. Keelan White has to turn. And looks like he does have enough for the first down. Good battle from the young Canadian receiver.
And really good patience by Jake Mayer, understanding, like, there's a lot of guys standing at the line of scrimmage before this ball is snapped, but the protection holds up. And then you got Keelan White, who's just going to come up into this space, and he's going to sit down in zone. You can see the defenders dropping out of the zone, and they can't, Micah Awe can't find where he is.
4 targets, 4 catches, including this one for Keelan White.
Little tempo here, calling the plays quickly, a little bit quicker for Ryan Dimwitty, get some rhythm. Quick hitch pass, just a 6-yard throw, get the ball out of his hands quickly into Keelan White's hands on the inside.
13-yard gain up to 14. As another pressure look from the Alouettes, and they bail out from the other side. Going to the back end, and it's caught! Justin Hardy walks it into the end zone. And I think this was a single step in the wrong direction, Lapo, from a linebacker bailing out from pressure that just opened the window, and Jake Mayer was able to knife it perfectly to Justin Hardy.
You always talk to your quarterbacks about, as people are dropping out, you're going to see Tyrese Beverett. This is a blitz, but they're zone blitzing. So as everybody runs to their zone, there's huge creases. So then they try to react to the ball. Tyrese Beverett, one of the best in the business, just can't recover in time. It's a great throw, great concentration by Hardy, catching on the back shoulder, spinning in for the touchdown. So great execution versus the zone blitz coming by the Alouettes.
Tempo works into the end zone, go for 2. Mayer, hands off, going nowhere, all over it. Immediately, Isaac Adeyemi Berglund. The Redblacks get into the end zone to open things up. In the 3rd quarter, they trail by 9. As Mayer to Hardy, we haven't said it the entire first half, but we do here for a touchdown in the 3rd quarter.
Justin Hardy with the 29-yard touchdown. This is a drive of 7 plays, 69 yards with an explosive to end the drive, but it was all throwing. 6 passes, 1 run on short yardage, trying to spread the ball around. A little bit of tempo here by Ryan Dinwiddie, trying to say, hey, we're going to do some things, get the ball out of our hands quicker, and then a couple of pressures by Montreal. Jake Mayer makes them pay, being out of position when they're dropping into the zone for the touchdown. Good response in the second half by this Redblacks offense.
Mario Walford on the return, and another big play, that time on special teams by Bennett Williams, as he continues to fly to the football regardless of what unit he's part of. And out comes Davis Alexander here with his first touch of this second half. And again, Davis looked a heck of a lot like Davis of 13-0, didn't he, in that first half? Just getting it up and down the field, making the smart decisions, moving around.
Yeah, and I remember talking to Danny Machocho when Davis became a starter last year, and everyone's like, you're moving on from Cody Fajardo, and he's like, it's not about Davis, it's about our team. You just got to protect, make sure he does the right things, and let the players make the plays. Sooner or later he'll make his own plays, but he doesn't have to win the whole game himself, and that's what he's done so well by protecting the football, using his legs. But more than anything, the players believe in Davis Alexander, and they can see how he plays, the effort he plays with, and he puts his body on the line for these guys. And you know, like Jason, very similar to that guy right there, how Jason Moss played the game.
It was interesting. Anthony Calvillo said he never called guys in the offseason, maybe once or twice. He said Davis talks to everyone all the time, all year round. That's the type of leadership stuff that he is naturally good at. And he's got everyone on the same page. He was on the same page with Stevie Scott on the route and the throw, but the catch just not there, and it will be 2 and out.
Team that has the fewest 2 and outs in the CFL because how much they're short passes. So a rare 2 and out Alexander, but just got to catch. Stevie Scott did a good job. Just got to catch the football when it's located.
The other interesting thing that Calvillo talked about was he basically said, I don't have anywhere close to the arm strength that Davis Alexander does, so it's actually harder for me to play call for him because I have to try and understand that he can do things I never had the chance to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I've gone against that guy a long time, and he had arm strength. What a great kick right there.
Beautiful 47-yard punt, pins Khalil Pimpleton along that sideline. As he steps out of bounds, Joseph Zima going to work here at home. The Redblacks with the football, down by 9. As we put a period or an exclamation mark or maybe a question mark on week number 4, week number 5 kicks off Thursday at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. It's the Argos, it's the Stamps from McMahon Stadium. It's getting an opportunity to see Deshaun Brissett take on his old team for the Calgary Stampeders, and it is the Stampede Bowl as well, Labo, which I've never been to, but you have experience.
And I will have my cowboy hat ready and my cowboy outfit.
Did you get a custom one made?
I bought one that was very expensive last year, so I'm going to wear it every year.
Is it cowboy hat and shorts weather, maybe?
No. Oh. I'll have some cowboy jeans.
Jake Mayer with the football after the wonderful punt by Joseph Zima, and Joffrey Canton-Arcou brings down Greg Bell, but not until he has a gain of up around 8 yards on first down. So ahead of the chains here, the way they like it with this Redblacks offense. They've been behind so often this early season.
Defensively for Montreal, this is a pretty good, the first half only giving up 23 yards rushing. Last week they gave up 201 yards rushing. I know that's an area of concern for Noel Thorpe and his defense. Hey, we got to stop the run better. Last week they just, talking to Noel before the game, we just missed Justin Rankin a couple of times, and that's going to happen. You got to make your plays when those great backs get the ball in space.
Canton-Arcou with 3 tackles here tonight. He came in with a league best 18. Late to rally to that one as well, but a first down for the Redblacks offense as they rely on the ground game that time. Extra offensive lineman in with Samuel Carson.
Spread people out. Give him a chance, and watch this one cut. Boom, puts his foot in the ground, gets north-south. Shoulders square for the first down yardage. You want backs who can put their foot in the ground immediately and get north-south and shoulders square. Get the big run on the outside zone play.
Redblacks with 5 first downs in the first half, already 5 here in the second. As Mayer looks to throw, he does to the outside. It's Daniel Adeboboye one-on-one with Wesley Sutton. Stiffy throws away Sutton. to the sideline and picks up the first down. Adeboboye always getting those backup scrap reps, but always makes the most of them.
A lot of misdirection in the backfield. You've got a speed sweep going in one direction, you're faking inside zone to the other, and then you leak Adeboboye out into the flat, get the ball in his hands, let him make people miss. Love Daniel. He's a great football player, great addition last season for the Ottawa Redblacks, with a special teams demon and a running back.
Such a strong low-to-the-ground runner is Adeboboye. This time they go with a jet sweep. It's Aiden Eberhardt trying to get around the corner, and the free agency pickup from the BC Lions spoke to this week and said he was very aware of the challenge of the Montreal defense, how unique they are, how much pressure they bring, how confusing they can be. Good way to neutralize that, I guess, is just getting his hands going around the corner.
Yeah, you always call this conflict of assignment plays. The line's going to the left, but then you flip the ball to the slot receiver to the right. So you're trying to protect some of those runs so the defense, the speed of the defense goes in one direction, you create space for a receiver going the other direction.
Empties it out 3 by 3, and underneath, diving for the first down marker, it is Justin Hardy, as we welcome in viewers on TSN 3 and 4 who were just enjoying Canada winning again against South Africa.
Sure, there's a lot of people watching that replay because that was an amazing win.
Stefan Eustáquio playing the hero today. The question is, in the round of 16 against either Netherlands or Morocco, who will be the next Canadian soccer hero?
Pretty good drive going so far by the Redblacks here. Usually when you flip the field and flip midfield, Noel Thorpe is going to like to bring pressure and start lining up other people because he's getting mad you're moving the ball so much.
He's wandering people around already on cue. Pose now Pimpleton catches to the outside and makes it all the way down to the 30-yard line, and a late flag will tag on more to the end of that play. Is again Pimpleton, 5'8", 162, and finding a way to churn out extra yardage.
Jake Mayer, great understanding. You can't cover every zone, but sometimes people are going to leave this widest part of the zone available, and the quarterback's got to locate it. Great location, great timing, and then here comes the late hit at the end. Just too close to the sideline. You always talk to your players, escort them out the sideline, don't deliver a shot there.
And here's where Thorpe gets creative, right?
Yeah, usually, you know, this has been a long drive, you know, and he has been hurt by some zone pressures. The last couple drives, we'll see what he wants to do.
Line up with 2 defensive linemen, hand on the ground. Bring 5-man pressure underneath. Justin Hardy on a slant route, catches it. He gets down to around the 6, maybe 5.5-yard line.
Little bit of man coverage, a little bit of pressure scenario. Jake Mayer sees it, gets a slant over Willie, inside of Willie Sutton.
And tempo worked for the last touchdown to Justin Hardy. They'll use it again here quickly to the line of scrimmage. Handed off Greg Bell, right-hand side. And Montreal's defensive line sliding with the blockers up front and making the play. It looks like Wall Uguak was at the bottom of the pile. It's Daniel Wise climbs up off this Percival Molson turf. And now it is 1st and goal to go.
Bringing in an extra fullback, as we can see Anthony Goslin, another player coming in to get a little bit extra players around the line of scrimmage, box area.
Goslin, the longtime Red Black, 9th year out of Sherbrooke. 4 receivers available. They'll fake it inside the Bell, slant route, 1-on-1, and did he hang on to it? Keelan White into the end zone, touchdown Red Blacks.
One of the reasons you love bringing guys, more people into the box, the more players you have to design in the run game. You see all these extra bodies. You have an extra fullback in, you bring a couple of slots. That leaves one-on-one on the outside. You see all these in, and then Jake Mayer can say, I've got the one-on-one opportunity. I'm going to take that one-on-one opportunity. When it shows up, Fayon Hicks gets beat on the inside slant. Great read by Jake Mayer, just taking the one-on-one throw on the outside as everybody's in to stop the run.
The extra point from Brett Lowther misses. And So the converts, whether it's 2 or 1, now a compiling issue for the Redblacks, but they needed a touchdown dearly, and they got it. Don't look now. Jake Maier's got more passing yards in this ball game than Davis Alexander.
Two touchdowns in this second half. What happened at halftime? What's going on? Justin Hardy, 29-yard touchdown, beat the blitz, and then show the run, do the RPO on the outside. Great concentration by Keelan White. Ball a little bit behind, but makes the catch for 2 quick scores for the Ottawa Redblacks.
And Dinwiddie dialing it up here in this third quarter. Closing down the gap. You can feel the momentum, and also a bit of an emotional moment as well for Jake Maier after that touchdown to Keelan White, going into the end zone to celebrate with his teammates. It seemed like he was kind of saying, wake up, guys, we're in this one.
143 yards and 2 drops. Really good response.
Keep in mind, 11-game winning streak for the Montreal Alouettes. Maier got the Redblacks believing here on the road. There's Davis Alexander standing in the offensive huddle for the Montreal Alouettes, a team that last time they were at home were chucking it up and down the field against the Toronto Argonauts. And tonight, a pretty clean sheet for Davis as he sits 13 of 20 with no interceptions, but 207 yards. The ridiculous pace of quarterbacks at the start of the season. You say, well, it seems like kind of slow. He's still on pace for a 300-yard game, especially the way the Alouettes play when they get into the fourth quarter, which has been exceptional this season.
Yeah, and they've just, you know, if there's not huge explosives, this team is going to get the ball quick. On first down, they're going to make sure they don't put themselves in a lot of second and extras if not. So quick passes, screen passes, get it to Tyson Philpott, let these athletes run the football.
And we talked about Ryan Dinwiddie cutting plays out of the playbook going into this game to simplify things, bring it down, focus on execution. You see the number of options there for Jason Moss as he goes deep. And Maier and Dinwiddie fired up, talking it through after a successful third quarter. Drew Tate standing in the background there as well, former CFL quarterback. And now Ottawa's defense jumps.
Montréal, numéro 62, pénalité de Saint-Verge. On va reprendre le premier essai. Procedure Montreal 62. We'll go back 5 yards. It's still first down.
Second time this stutter cadence or this cadence has worked. But this time, they're going to call it the hard count. The Tiger Shanks moves first.
I mean, the calendar jumped out at the end. They called it on him, but I think everybody, including Ottawa, thought they were walking backwards as if they were guilty.
Interesting. They're trying to, the battle of the points goes on, and I'm sure the replay center is now going to help this take a look and make sure who went.
And they're already looking it over before the call's even made.
At it as it's happening to assist. You can see them right now confirming whether somebody stepped back or not.
I've actually been fortunate enough to be in the replay center for a couple of games where they're looking these things over. It's amazing how fast the play's not even done, and they're already ripping through the footage of a play that happened 10 seconds ago. Here's our referee, Ben Major, with the clarification.
Bon, il y a une correction. C'est pas procédure, c'est hors-jeu contre Ottawa numéro 95. Pénalité de Saint-Verge. On reprend le premier essai. So it's not procedure, it's offside. Check. Offside Ottawa, 95. 5-yard penalty. We'll replay first down, and there's 3:41 on the clock.
That's what it looked like. There's a lot of math.
They got it.
A lot of math into that. A lot of math problems going on, but Baldonado went early. Jeez. Yeah.
They clear it up, go back to action here with 3.5 remaining in the third. Alexander takes the run, tries to throw the slant in behind. And got popped up in the air. Who got their arm up? Was it Agili or Wakefield? Someone off the edge making the play.
Getting you that 2nd and 5. The part of those, hey, when guys are going to get the ball out of their hands this quickly, can you do anything in your power? Look like a jelly did that. If you can't get home on the rush, get your hand up and knock the ball down.
Alexander 2nd and 5. Same look, this time he gives. Stevie Scott Dances over one tackler. Nice coming downhill to make the play was Scott Hutter, the free safety at a Wilfrid Laurier University.
And you love these calls. 2nd and medium, 2nd and 5 in the Canadian Football League is probably 85 to 90% throw the football. So you get a run play. Even if it gets 4 yards, Marshall, you're going to end up 3rd and 1 where you're going to do the quarterback sneak. So a good call by Anthony Calvillo here. You know, kind of breaking tendencies, going ahead and getting inside zone play on the 2nd and medium.
Haven't said Tyson Philpott's name in a little bit. Is he due? This time they'll skip it out to Stevie Scott, who bounces back inside and goes head over heels. Ball came out, but they'll say he's down. Hutter making the argument otherwise, but Byron Archambault, the special teams coordinator, says the elbow had hit the turf, causing the fumble.
Another one of those multiple screen plays where they just flip it out. Getting Stevie Scott on a little swing pass. Try to get blockers outside for him. But really good contain. Coming up is Marcus Barnes. Forcing it back inside, creating a new sideline.
Montreal lost 2 of their 3 fumbles on the road in Edmonton last week. And that one inside to Stevie Scott as well on 2nd down and medium. And so at midfield, Davis Alexander looking at the sideline and hoping they'll stay aggressive, but with Byron Archambault on the turf, sending out Joseph Zima, it will be the end of this drive for number 10.
Redblacks huge stop on 2nd and short, getting penetration, giving the ball back to a very resurgent Redblacks offense.
And Alexander not thrilled about how that drive went, clearly. Pimpleton tries to make some magic for the Redblacks. The coverage unit all over it. Alexander Gagne downfield to make the special teams tackle. He's had 1 in each game now, each of his last 5. As Jake Mayer hits the turf once again after the 2 touchdown drives in this 3rd quarter and sit with just 5 incompletions. And Ottawa possession time in the first half, just 10 minutes and 46 seconds. In their first 2 drives, they've almost equaled that. So a total flipping of the script.
Doing it, putting the ball up in the air, giving them, but locating the passes on 1st down, not getting the penalties that back them up. And just playing clean football solves a lot of your problems offensively.
Absolutely. Justin Hardy in motion as Mayer takes the snap. Pressure on, looks to the left-hand side, rips this one complete. Aiden Everhart at the 35 and backpedals for a few more.
Very difficult route to handle here. This is going to be a corner route. Watch him start to run the corner, and then he puts his foot in the ground, comes right back to the ball. Right? A lot of people call this a bite route. You're going to run up, start running the corner, right back to the curl.
So imagine defending that one. You're playing with speed like that. As Mayer this time, pressure all over him, incomplete. Isaac Adeyemi Berglund right there. Geoffrey Canton-Arcou as well. The Montreal front not slowing down at all here, despite the fact Ottawa turning up the Jets a little bit.
A little bit of pressure here, right? I think you're going to see a little bit of movement here. Just beats with speed around the edge of the defense.
Good coverage as well from the Alouettes down the field as Mayer had to hang on to it. And it should be the final play of the 3rd quarter. A 3-point ball game. As Noel Thorpe dials it up on 2nd and 10. Mayer throws it up for grabs down the right side, and just a little bit of miscommunication that time. Lost in the lights or confusion on the route. Whatever it was, it falls incomplete, 2nd and 10, and so the Montreal Alouettes will get the football up 3 to begin the 4th quarter. As they are plus 24 in the 4th so far this season, and looking to add to that and solidify a home victory with Davis Alexander bouncing back off the road loss last week in Edmonton. 4th quarter when we return. The Ottawa Redblacks had the football in their possession for about 10.5 minutes of that 3rd quarter. Totally uncharacteristic for the type of team they've been offensively. much of 2024, 2025, and especially the start of 2026, those net yards in the third quarter, outstanding.
Yeah, and you can see rushing yards. Neither team, these teams are 8th and 9th in the CFL in rushing. They do it by quick passes and getting the ball out of their hands. But early in the first half, the Alouettes had long drives, held onto the football. Ottawa getting penalty trouble. Now this script is flipped. Ottawa's moving the ball well, holding onto it, like you just said, 10 minutes of time possession and only 15 total yards for the Alouettes in this third quarter.
They could use the big leg of Noah Getman here. Try and pin Montreal deep as the pressure got there close. Change the launch angle just a little bit as it hangs on Getman and drops down to Mario Alford. Great special teams coverage down the field. There's Ottawa right there on the spot. Marcus Barnes, the first to make contact with Alford. Alexander back to the controls. You can guarantee he spent the quarter break talking things over with Jason Moss. Anthony Calvillo saying that his favorite thing about a young Davis Alexander, if he's not already young, younger, was hopping on the tablet immediately after every drive and just asking endless questions. He says he hasn't changed one bit despite the success in his early career. Outside to Tyson Philpott he goes, who dances away from the first tackler and the second. Before C.J. Rivas brings him down, but Tyson Philpott dancing in the open field.
Ball out immediately to your playmaker, to the wide side of the field. Lucian's got to make the tackle. He can't make the tackle, too much space. Good step up for the extra short yardage play. Turn into a short yardage play.
Plunge their way forward. Tyson Philpott had 7 catches in the first half, held catchless in that third quarter, but begins the fourth with another grab. Moss, eyes dialed in on the play call sheet, managing this 3-point advantage. Alexander with a quick peek to both sides of the line of scrimmage. Travis Tice in with Stevie Scott in the backfield. Alexander wanted to send it deep, now just flops it over the top of 2 defenders. Easy pitch and catch. And after a sleepy third quarter, the Alouettes offense wide awake here in the fourth.
The protection is what creates this, but you have Tyson Philpott. This is so difficult. From the wide side of the field, climbing all the way across, 2 routes go vertically, and then he layers himself underneath the 2 deep balls, but great protection by the Alouettes to give this clear out, 2 clear outs with the deep climb play action.
Tice remains in the ball game. They'll sprint Stevie Scott out and give it to him in the open field. There's 3 defenders there. And Scott gets what he could, but plenty of coverage on the spot immediately. Is defender down along that sideline is Demario Houston, who needs a moment, and the training staff will attend to Houston, the veteran. Ryan Dinwiddie over to check him out as well. At least for a couple of snaps, it looks like they'll have to make a substitution with Jeremy Lucien factoring in somewhere and shuffle the deck on the back end for this Ottawa defense against Alexander and the Owls.
Lucien's a young player they like a lot. Bigger body. 6 feet, 195 pounds, got 8 defensive tackles so far this season in the games he's played. Been on the roster a couple of first 2 games.
We will step aside as Demario Houston gets looked at by the training staff and return. There is head coach Ryan Dinwiddie watching on as he sees Demario Houston go to the sideline and now moves around some pieces in the back end of that Redblacks defense. Davis Alexander, probably too much time to talk it over at this point. He's been standing around for a solid 2-3 minutes. Stayed in the huddle the whole time, didn't go to the sideline. working over the play call and finally gets a chance to bring it to life. Jason Moss watching on. See A.J. Allen, the standout linebacker, coming over in free agency from Saskatchewan, Canadian from the University of Guelph. As he stares down Alexander. Allen will blitz. Alexander goes the opposite way. Gets it out to Tyson Philpott and called it. Jeremy Lucien on the field, makes the tackle in open space, and on cue A.J. Allen right there to celebrate with him.
A lot of different motion, but at the end of the day, Tyson Philpott, one-on-one. Jeremy Lucien, just throw the hitch, locate it, get yourself 3rd and 1 for the big team. Dustin Crum come in.
I think that Jason Moss spent the last 4 minutes on the sideline trying to figure out how to isolate Lucien in some way, shape, or form against Tyson Philpott, right? Well, he got it, but he didn't get the first down. So in comes Dustin Crum with 3rd and a yard. Snap comes up.
Life of a short yardage quarterback isn't always fun. A lot of gains of 1 to 2 yards, and you get hit by a middle linebacker.
Well, especially when you got the educational background that guy's got, right. Dustin Crum, that we've detailed well if you're a diehard CFL fan.
Mechanical engineering, what was his
I believe aeronautical. He's a NASA man.
He is a rocket scientist, actually.
As I try to dumb it down for myself, not for anyone else.
Rudesse, Ottawa numéro 1. On va avancer de 15 verges à la fin du jeu. Ça va être premier essai automatique pour Montréal. Roughing, Ottawa number 1. We'll go 15 yards from the end of the play. It's going to be automatic first down for Montreal.
Niles Morgan, an auto fire over the top in this ball game whenever Dustin Crum is in short yardage, but it costs him there.
Whether this was a blow to the head or is just something at the end of the play. Didn't get a visual of it. Puts the ball inside the 10.
We'll see what defensive coordinator William Fields will do to try and assist the Redblacks offense that's held up their end of the bargain in this second half. Agili almost jumped offside. A hard count to get a look at the defense. Try to help out Stevie Scott to know where to go. And he runs right into a wall of Redblacks tacklers.
C.J. Rivas does a good job helping out. Morgan's in there. Bottle up this run, create 2nd long. You know, Montreal offensively has got a lot of explosive plays. This is the area of the field they've struggled. 7th in the CFL, fewest trips in the red zone, sometimes because they're just throwing it past the red zone, but they're only 50% touchdown percentage down here, where you really got to finish with 7s.
Anthony Calvillo said they put a ton of work into the score zone, not great at it last year, especially inside the 10. He wanted to find ways to refine that. Let's see if they did. Alexander looks right, then back left, then tries to escape. Pressure on, running right, throws! Touchdown! Davis Alexander creates something out of nothing, like he seemingly always does, and it's Tyler Snead on the receiving end.
This is what you hate about quarterbacks who have legs as a defender. He's about to throw the ball. It's covered. Then he starts scrambling. You're not sure what's happening. Do I come up? Do I come play the player? C.J. Rivas, does he leave his defender? Leaves his defender. Tyler Snead's open with nobody around.
You ever see those, we'll scuff up the end of the play here. I get Yemi Berglund. And do you ever see those carnival games where you try to punch the thing to see how hard your punch actually is to make the tower raise with all the bright lights? Yes. Davis Alexander, after throwing that touchdown, might have set a world record if one of those was in front. He celebrated that one as hard as any touchdown he has in this early season. Roll to the right, tuck it away like you're running. Keep one hand on it and straight into the end zone for Tyler Snead.
9 yards for Tyler Snead for the touchdown on an 8-play, 70-yard drive. Typical Montreal Alouettes. Quick throws on the outside, get the ball in playmakers' hands in space, mix in a huge explosive play. Here's a 24-yard one to Tyson Philpott. Still quick outside screen pass. They got helped with an unnecessary roughness call, and then Davis Alexander working his magic, waiting for the coverage to break down by using his legs to find Tyler Snead. So great response after 15 total yards in the third quarter.
I haven't used a lot of tempo in this ball game, but it's pretty obvious that Davis Alexander has the need for Snead here in week 4. All the way to the end zone. They find each other once again, and now Pimpleton. What a return for him. Instant offense.
Huge return by Pimpleton. You know, you got to be scared of this. Montreal has given up 2 return TDs in the CFL this year. I believe the only team to do that. And Pimpleton obviously starts upfield and then works to the wide side of the field. Great blocking, you can see. Just so patient, finding the space. He's such a dynamic playmaker. Flips the field, puts him almost 1 first down there in field goal range.
Late substitutions here after the 43-yard return from Khalil Pimpleton. Crowd into it. Trying to go outside handoff for Daniel Adamaboye. Turned back inside. And a wall of blue right there. Lowell Ugwak in the middle of the fray with Josh Archibald.
Like this Redblacks team, still trying to mix in some run plays, not make themselves one-dimensional. Just the Alouettes defense really been very good stopping the run tonight. And this is the problem with some of these second and long packages. You're going to see so many different pictures and alignments from this defense.
Bear, quick drop over the middle. Justin Hardy running free through the secondary inside the 25-yard line. And the Redblacks offense has completely changed their complexion from the first couple of weeks.
Justin Hardy breaks inside on the post versus man coverage. Actually, 2 deep safeties, everybody else in man. Jake Mayer recognizes it, delivers a strike to Justin Hardy.
Pressure on, Mayer pumps, gets it away, and incomplete.
So I've called plays against Noel Thorpe in my years long enough to know that. Like, they just completed another big, deep play. Ball's inside the 25-yard line. He get in a bad mood, he's going to rush the passer. There is a max level blitz. They're bringing more protectors, which you call cover 0 because there's no help for the DBs, forcing his young defensive backs to hold up. Jake Mayer misses the throw out on the sideline.
Jake Mayer digs in. Sets the motion. And they'll empty it out. Mayer backpedaling, throws it up the middle of the field. Caught, big hit, but hanging on to it. Right in the middle of the action, Benjamin Victor with Nate Boschman barreling down on him. What a tough pitch and catch.
The exact same play that the Montreal Alouettes scored earlier in the game to Alex Hollins, just from a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage.
Gain of 19,
catch.
And they go tempo immediately. Mayer hands it off, trying to turn back inside, but losing his edge for just a moment, slowed his momentum, was Greg Bell.
Josh Archibald does a really good job. The hardest part for some of the blocking when you're in a spread set with these wide receivers is having to block defensive ends. Josh Archibald, 246 pounds, when you're trying to block him with the wide receiver can be difficult. He comes down and makes the play to stop this run.
These are the moments Jake Mayer wanted. Just 2 games started for Saskatchewan last year as he took a bit of a professional development year after his time in Calgary. Wanted these pressure moments. Well, it's on. Montreal, full blitz. Mayer into the end zone, up for grabs and caught. What a catch! Keelan White, the Canadian, rips it down.
Contact illégal sur un receveur. Montréal numéro 7. La pénalité déclinée, c'est un touché pour Ottawa. Legal contact on a receiver. Montreal number 7. Penalty is declined. The result of the play is a score. Touchdown for Ottawa.
It starts with protection. You see all these bodies up at the line of scrimmage. Hold on, let's see that. You got all kinds of guys up there. Pressure off the edge. Tyrese Beveret's free. They're trying to get a piece of him, but you throw it up on the one-on-one. Hicks gets beat. Keelan White, a spectacular catch for Keelan White. One of the great young receivers going to be in this league. The Redblacks love his abilities this season.
The talk coming out of training camp in Ottawa obviously was the quarterback situation. but it was also about every single member of this team being so impressed with the development of Keelan White.
High
on display.
Brings the ball down. That's how you do it as a wide receiver. There's Keelan White, 6 catches, 62 yards. We talked about it. Early in training camp, they said, we're moving this guy closer to the football. Why? Because he can make plays like this. High-pointed, makes the catch. There's Jake Mara going, I got the one-on-one. I'm going to throw it up to Keelan White, give him an opportunity to high-point the ball. And look at this, Marshall. Oh, my goodness.
Strawberry moon, the full moon here in June. And strange things happen when a full moon comes out. 11-game winning streak for the Montreal Alouettes over Ottawa. Is this the night that they finally end that streak for the Ottawa Redblacks? They're in contention. Plenty of work to do, as we know, in the final half of this second quarter, or the fourth quarter, as they have Tyrell Richards bumping his way back to the Alouettes sideline, and Davis Alexander will have something to say about that.
We won't get much different from this Alouettes offense now. You see the numbers have flipped. Jake Mara's got more passing yards, but Anthony Calvillo is going to continue to get the ball out of his hand quickly and then eventually take some shots.
Alexander, quick rep inside Tyson Philpott with nobody around him. They make it look so easy when they're on the same page, immediately across the 55 and into Ottawa territory.
When you're coming off, sometimes defenders are going to blitz off the edge. What do you do with your receiver? You replace the space. You can see it. Defender blitzing off the edge. Nobody underneath. So get the ball out of your hands when the defense is displaced. Philpott just sits down in that vacated area. Easy completion.
Quick pass here once again. Screen game. Tyson Philpott crosses to the 40. Fights for even more yardage. And with that catch, remember when we were going crazy after week 2 here at home against Toronto? He has now gone past that 193-yard mark that he had against the Argonauts. He's done it again this week.
This is what's hard about facing teams that do a lot. You've got a screen this way with linemen pulling this way, but you also have a screen this way. So which way you're going to go? You're going to fake a screen to the right, but then throw it back here, get your lineman pulling. You're separating the defense to give yourself more space for these wide receivers.
Montreal keeps driving and Ottawa keeps answering. Might be a career high for Philpott before we're done here on a Sunday night in Quebec as Stevie Scott bounces to the outside, inside the 20, cuts back at the 10 and dives forward, wrapped up inside the 5-yard line.
Jeremy Lucien had an opportunity to make this tackle, but what you love about Stevie Scott, the Big Ten back at 230 pounds, 6'1", you better wrap him up. Low center of gravity. Okay, he's going to keep driving, bounces it outside, just miss, and he keeps it. You're not going to be able to bring him down with an arm tackle. Bounce outside for the big gain. Put the ball inside, close to Dustin Crum time.
And the Alouettes called time. Davis Alexander frustrated. They couldn't get themselves situated with the personnel package. They sent in the heavies. It was Marco Dubois, Jacob Mason, Travis Tice in there as well. I think it might have been a little bit thrown off. Looks like Stevie Scott actually had to go to the sideline after that last play.
I think it's going to be a little bit wider. Yeah, it's at the 5, so probably a couple of yards before we get Dustin Crum to come in.
Base offense remains in for now. Anthony Calvillo did actually say this week that the only time in this season that he's felt like he's failed a little bit as a play caller is short yardage, not knowing whether to keep base or go heavy or how late to call it in. But regardless, after the timeout, they spend it there and they get themselves set. Scott the third watches from the sideline. Off to the left-hand side, and the play is so nice. They gave it to Tice. Touchdown, Alouettes.
Marshall, you've been saving that for a while, right? So nice it gave it to Tice. I like it, Marshall. Really great to have both Stevie Scott. He has to go out for a play. Who do you put in? Travis Tice. just outstanding back. Great vision, bounces it outside when there's no contained player, and makes the play on the outside when Marcus Barnes gets caught inside too far. No contain, jumps it outside for the touchdown.
4 plays, 69 yards in just over 2 minutes, and an immediate response from the Montreal Alouettes. And the extra point is missed. So Jose Montos Diaz, who was perfect coming into the ball game on field goals, misses the extra point, as we've got Kenzie Lalonde on the sidelines with more on the touchdown scorer, Travis Tice.
Yeah, so you'll notice Travis Tice has a new look this year. He's sporting number 5. 5's been the number he's worn since grade 3, all the way up to college in South Dakota. Because Travis's father, Rusty, was a massive George Brett fan, so it felt right for Travis to adopt that number. Tice family is from Pratt, Kansas, a town of about 7,000 people. And Dad Rusty and Mom Lindell are here today in the big city for just their 2nd time to watch their son, and that one's got to feel good for this Tice family.
Amazing, Kenzie. Yeah, my favorite part of chatting with Travis this week ahead of this game was him saying, you know, we're from a small town. There's not a lot of people. My dad was actually kind of rattled just by getting on the bus from the airport to get to downtown Montreal. He's like, why are there so many cars? I don't get it. Big city living in Montreal, and their boy is making big plays late in this one.
Should have said, why is there so much construction here?
Why are all these roads closed?
Great response, like you said, by Montreal. Taking some time off the clock, nice drive. And again, getting the run game going.
Calvillo prepping himself for the next drive. Will it be one to seal the game potentially, or to answer whatever Jake Mayer and Ryan Dinwiddie have up their sleeve? First, the return. It goes to Adebaboye. 20 to the 30, and bouncing back across the green. Man, the patience on Adebaboye. He knew that he had a chance to break that one for the major.
Jake Mayer's completed 75% of his passes tonight. Been good locating the football. As we get a picture of Adebaboye. Great balance, great run back inside.
So Jake Mayer empty it out 3-by-3, and Mayer throws the deep out. Justin Hardy on the money, the receiver that, according to Aiden Eberhardt, the Redblacks receiver room called the doctor with his precision on route running.
Great location. You're going to see him run a bench route. He's going to start up and then go right to the sideline, turn the defender. Jake Mayer throws it underneath. Wesley Sutton can't make the play if it's located, and it's located perfectly. And Justin Hardy's going to make that catch every time on the sideline.
So smooth, such great routes from Justin Hardy. Makes it easy on a quarterback, but this defense making it tough. Mayer answering the call in this one is caught and fighting to keep him stood up. Is Khalil Pimpleton one-on-one right there with Robert Kennedy III.
Sometimes it's not always sacks with Montreal defense. They pressured there, and then Khalil Pimpleton is in a position where he's in a one-on-one outside. You got to wrap that. The DBs are in an island. They got to wrap it on one of the best returners in the league into the field. Really good stop by Sutton on the outside.
Mayer with pressure on, sidearm slings it. And not sure if that one was intended for anyone, but Mayer successfully getting it away from the oncoming rush of Isaac Adeyemi-Berglund.
See Berglund right there coming off the edge over Dino Boyd. Just looks like Jake's not ready to throw where he wants to on the left-hand side. So when he holds it too long, that's going to show up.
We have hit the 3-minute warning. Ottawa pushing, trying to find a way to the win column when we return. As the winds swirl in one direction, then the other here at Percival Molson Stadium. So too does the scoreline on this evening, as Ottawa battling their way back into the third quarter, doing their best to keep up with Montreal in the fourth, but it was a jump start, just 6 points at half for the Redblacks. They're going for it here on third down, and a couple of yards to go. Jake Mayer answered the call. for the touchdown to Keelan White recently. Can he do it here on third down? Waits, flag flies, and completes. It is Keelan White once again, but it looks like holding against the Redblacks.
This will be
Retenu, Ottawa 68, pénalité diverge. On va reprendre le troisième essai. Holding, Ottawa 68, 10-yard penalty. We'll replay third down.
Mayer held it a long time, Lapo. It's the rookie, the top overall pick, Giordano Vaccaro.
See him at the right side of the screen as he's turning back, trying to get the block. He just turns around. You can see his right hand getting involved, so Gio gets the holding penalty, which is very difficult because it backs you up. You can't take a penalty there. A number of reasons. Now you're backed up. You can't even kick a field goal, right? So it forces you on a 3rd and 12 situation.
Downhill mindset from the Redblacks, regardless of down and distance. Mayer over the middle of the field and running through the secondary. It's Justin Hardy. What a throw by Jake Mayer.
Clear the zone out and then send a player underneath into the space. You're going to have one going vertical and then Hardy showing up behind it to be in a good position. You see him working outside and takes that space. Great throw on time and great catch by Hardy.
Another grab by Benjamin Victor here as he gets down around the 10-yard line. Another first down for the Redblacks. Offense moving as they need to be after that third down conversion. And with the clock set to roll as soon as they get set and whistle in, Jake Mayer already at the line of scrimmage, lined up and ready to roll. Keelan White to his right. Back the other way and up in the air. Dangerously that time, looking for Justin Hardy on the backside.
Just a little bit behind for him. Yards away, you don't need it. You got 2 downs to get this, so you can get an underneath throw and then get it on the third down. Just a little bit behind. Didn't have the body control to be able to pull that down.
There, pressure coming on his right side, gets it away underneath. And great coverage by Jeffrey Canton-Arcou, who looks a little worse for wear after the collision with Aiden Eberhardt. But the Quebecois linebacker up onto his feet. And Mayer will slowly walk to the sideline as the field goal unit comes out, wondering what could have been.
You can see the athleticism of Canton-Arcou here. He started in the line of scrimmage, ran out, played in depth. The quarterback doesn't see him in that space, and then he's able to make a play on the ball when it's thrown. Just outstanding athleticism at 6'4", 232 pounds.
Brett Lowther knocks it through the uprights, and we've got ourselves a 6-point ball game with 2:21 remaining in this fourth quarter. And Jake Mayer readily moving the football. I wonder how much of the Chad Kelly film from a couple of weeks ago, maybe watching, how much of the Cody Fajardo film watching last week with Edmonton being able to go up and down the field with Justin Rankin out of the backfield a couple of different ways. I mean, there's so much offense in the CFL right now. You got to think late in games. Well, the guys are looking at what the other teams are doing to find success and trying to incorporate that into their attack. Montreal's given up a lot of yards and a lot of points in this season. They set the standard this week. Tyrese Beverett with 17 points. They're at 28, nearing that 30-point mark once again.
And the key for this Montreal team is they've been able to, Davis Alexander, Tyler Sneed, Tyson Fulpott have been able to outscore teams. Where previous years, this Montreal defense was the best in the league at holding people out of the end zone. And you saw this offense was just kind of manage the football game. They were trying to manage games and not turn the ball over. Now you have one of the most explosive offenses in the Canadian Football League, and they can protect a young defense or a defense that's got a lot of injuries, especially at both corners right now.
See, Tyson Philpott got that swagger, ready to hit the field once again. He wants to go score right now. End this thing if he has the opportunity, as Mario Alford returns it across the 30 and pushed out of bounds. As we look ahead to week number 5 in the Canadian Football League, begins with the Stampede Bowl. Toronto on the road in Calgary at McMahon. Saskatchewan taking on these Redblacks. Edmonton against BC is on Saturday. And then on Sunday, to wind things down at Hamilton Stadium, it will be the Winnipeg Blue Bombers up against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
We'll see everybody Thursday night. Me and you, Marshall.
Looking forward to it.
Cowtown.
On the road in Calgary.
Do you have your cowboy hat is what I want to know.
I do not. Maybe I'll have to endeavor. Find one for the Stampede Bowl. We'll see how that goes as Davis Alexander sees Nick Callender jump out of his stance. And again, this time Baldonado saying this definitely wasn't me this time. Well, we'll see what the call is.
I think it's Baldonado again. So there's going to be a lot of drills done of watching the football and hard counts. What you call a hard count is when the quarterback really enunciates
légal, Montréal 62. On recule le Saint-Verge, ça va encore être premier essai. Procedure Montreal 62. We'll go back 5. Still first down.
So this is the first time we've got one on Nick Callender as he steps back. You're going to say Baldonado. Didn't cross over into the line.
It's the body language of I looked like I was going. I didn't go anywhere. So Callender gets the flag, backs up Montreal. First and 15. Alexander keeps the football. Running to his left, pressure on from CJ Rivas and behind, and Alexander grabbing at his low leg at the end of the play. Bounces his way
Ottawa.
back to the huddle as the Redblacks call time.
Barnesy, we got to.
And we'll get a look at the tackle here. If it was just maybe an ankle that got rolled up, it's actually A.J. Allen, not C.J. Rivas. But yeah, that right ankle got rolled up underneath, it looks like.
A.J. Allen, the highest paid linebacker, one of the big free agent signings for this Ottawa Redblacks team.
Well, Alexander is a warrior. He'll stay in and try to battle through. Remember, he took that shot on the knee earlier in this ballgame. I believe that was the left knee. This time it's the right knee / ankle. Lower leg that got wrapped up underneath A.J. Allen. He stands in and looks to throw. Alexander over the top, drops it in the bucket. On the run to Tyler Sneed.
There's certain seams in a zone defense. You're going to put players in a position where they can't cover. Okay, he just runs by the player in this part of the field. I thought it was zone coverage because it was so wide open. It had to be man right there. Good Lord, he ran right by Bennett Williams. Bennett Williams in no position to make the play. He sees the seam, takes the throw up to Sneed. Great location, Davis Alexander. Great response with a bum ankle.
Yeah, keep in mind, couldn't really move. Not moving all that well right now, so kind of flat-footed. Just threw that one with all arm as they'll hand it off. Travis Tice. And a good pickup on first down. Montreal leaning on the ground attack here, maybe with their quarterback feeling a little worse for wear.
So the full clock will be expired here. They're going to continue to try to run the football. You'd love actually on 2nd and 2 here just to get a yard so you get a 3rd down quarterback sneak and you take more time off the clock and then kick a field goal if you don't get it. Or get the 1st down and run the clock out.
Again, handed off inside, and Ottawa's defense all over it. Leaders in the CFL and tackles for loss coming in to this ball game. As at the end of games, whether it was Edmonton week 1 or Toronto last week, teams trying to run it out. That's when the Redblacks front has really feasted, and they will force the field goal unit onto the field as Bennett Williams from the secondary of the Redblacks.
It's a long one,
up.
So you're just going to take the points here. Make it too difficult for the Redblacks to come back with 1-18.
Not sure if Tyson Philpott will get another opportunity to catch a pass, but as it stands with this Jose Maltos Diaz field goal coming, and it hasn't made tonight, just 0 for 1, 48. Philpott has 12 catches for 198 yards. Expanding his league lead as Maltos Diaz with the hold from Joseph Zima. He might have missed the extra point after the Travis Tice touchdown. But Malthus Diaz money that time on the field goal attempt, 37-28. That guy has had himself a night, but it seems we're saying that every night.
It's been a consistent story in the Canadian Football League, and great to see.
I laughed talking to him a couple weeks ago where I said, people were really concerned about your 40-yard dash time when you're coming out of the combine. He was like, yeah, but the thing is I run like a 4.7 all the way across the field. There's not a lot of people who will run it for 60 yards on a deep crossing route. He knew he was a gamer. He knew he was going to have success. And here he is leading the league in receiving yards. And it again, when healthy, arguably right up there with the very best, not just Canadian receivers, but receivers in the CFL, the way this season's going.
And, you know, you talk all the time about receivers. He's a very intelligent football player, knows where to be in zone, knows how to leverage people in man coverage. So I always talk about this term about your 40 time. You know, if you're a 4.6, you run faster than a 4.6 when you know what you're doing.
Right.
When you don't know what you're doing, you run a 4.9. And this is a smart football player that has taken this team and made them one of the most explosive in the business.
You can tell from that smile, playing the game with a lot of joy as well, that infectious energy, not just the stats from Tyson Philpott, changing the way that their offense feels as the Redblacks, again, trying to create something out of nothing. Khalil Pimpleton's got a little bit of a sliver. Now he's got more room, breaks it across the 50, and can he get one more block? Chasing him down from behind, nobody will touch him. Khalil Pimpleton, touchdown Redblacks. They've been so close all night long, and they finally get one to the house. "93 yards and never a better time than the present."
The last return, which was a huge return, out to the 50-yard line. Khalil Pimpleton circled the whole defense, went to the wide side of the field. If you watch this one, he starts through that. Everybody plays contained to the wide side. He cuts it back in on the crease, and then the lower body strength takes over, and the speed and quickness to force the touchdown. The third return touchdown this Montreal special teams has given up this season.
Outstanding response from a team sitting at 0-2. And again, after the field goal, you could almost see the frustration on Jeff Reinbold and Ryan Dinwiddie's face, special teams coordinator, head coach for the Redblacks, going, man, finally we got one, but damn, we haven't left ourselves much time to use it.
Yes, and now you have the difficult opportunity of trying to recover the ball with 41 seconds left.
Saw the onside games being played in Kelowna between the Lions and Stampeders. By the way, don't kick it towards a Philpott. That was what I learned watching Calgary as Sean White popped one into the air towards Tyson's twin brother, Jalen.
What a great play by Khalil Pimpleton. It just shows like his ability to put his foot in the ground, get north-south. You know, first in the CFL in combined yards coming into this game. Receiver, punt returner, kickoff returner, just spectacular return.
The Alouettes, not only the 11-game winning streak over the Ottawa Redblacks that Ottawa's dearly trying to finish off, also just hot in June through their first 3 games of a season since 2023. The Owls have been great with a combined record of 10-2 this year, 2-1 coming into this one after the overtime defeat to Edmonton last week.
As we keep seeing Khalil Pimpleton, one of the reasons Khalil Pimpleton's on this football team because he beat out a pretty good returner named Devontae Dedmon, who's actually on Montreal's sideline. Standing start to the career for Khalil Pimpleton.
Wilder lights it up, has to go 10, does, hanging in the air, and what do we say? Don't go to a Philpott.
Stephanie Gould of Chilliwack, BC, you have just won groceries for a year thanks to Save on Foods' $1 million touchdown to win. If there's another kickoff return for a touchdown in tonight's game, you could win $1 million, Stephanie. Congratulations.
Thanks, Laura Dykin.
You and Laura were doing a little mini panel here a couple weeks ago.
Yes, a couple weeks ago on Friday.
Under 40 seconds, clock management, end of the game. New rule comes in, and the Alouettes, that was the frustration you saw from the Redblacks coaching staff. Kneel it out a couple of times and concede the final snap. As Jason Moss walks forward to congratulate his players, and Jake Maier and Davis Alexander come together for a memorable one. It was close, it was competitive, it was feisty at times, but these two rivals, so close geographically, the dominance continues for the Montreal Alouettes over the Ottawa Redblacks.
Better by the Ottawa Redblacks, getting some explosive plays, moving the ball offensively. Jake Maier did a really good job on a lot of those. But for Montreal, once again, the trend continues. 345 yards passing, a bunch of explosive plays, and again, Ottawa one turnover this game, so they lose the turnover margin again. Find a way to get takeaways, find a way to protect the football better. But once again, Tyson Philpott, one of the best in the business.
Tremendous game here in Montreal. Thank you to everyone for watching. Another great week in the Canadian Football League as the Alouettes find a way to hang on, get a big home victory. Thanks so much for watching.